Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. 1 skill point per second, I turn the fireball into a forbidden spell. Chapter 61. The overall attributes of the skeleton dragon are stronger than those of the molten flame demon, which is also at the 6th level. The main reason is that the necromancy system is an orthodox skill tree that relies on summons to make a living. So there is nothing wrong with being stronger. So in the end, only the most important natural disaster monarch is left that has not yet been summoned. Lin Yi thought for a moment. Taking into account the terrifying phenomena caused by the use of the divine fire Tianzhong, which is also at the 8th level. It's better not to summon the Calamity Lord in the real world. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if something happened directly in Tian'ai City's General Administration of Education. In the dead space, Lin Yi started singing. The initial singing time of 3 minutes, with the 70% reduction of divine grace chanting, is still nearly 1 minute of singing time. But Lin Yi was not in a hurry. So I don't want to waste the instant opportunity. As Lin Yi continued to sing, the entire necromantic space trembled. A necromantic formation that was countless times larger and more complicated than the previously summoned skeletal dragon emerged on the frozen ground. Countless necromantic magic runes followed Lin Yi's every magic spell. They are constantly beating and changing. Black air, symbolizing disaster and suffering, filled the entire space. The magic circle continued to expand, shining a dazzling black light. The entire space was filled with lifeless energy, as if Juyu had come to the world. Lin Yi was glad that he had not summoned in the real world, otherwise he might have been surrounded by countless professional armies halfway through the summoning. More than 50 seconds of chanting reached its peak. The magic circle was also expanded to its maximum size, directly encompassing the entire necromantic space. At the same time, Lin Yi also saw the low-level skeleton monsters that he had summoned before. At this moment, he was kneeling down in front of the center of the circle, which was shrouded in black light. Even the huge skeletal dragon was trembling all over. The dragon's head hangs low. It seems that they are waiting to see their true king. As the last character came out of Lin Yi's mouth, the chanting is finished. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. This great summoning technique is really powerful. Even he had to be held captive for nearly a minute. Looking at the magic circle on the ground, Lin Yi was speechless. With such a large magic circle, the natural disaster monarch finally summoned would be a big guy, a super giant, right? Lin Yi's imagination of the Calamity Lord is still stuck in the appearance of Alsace, a well-known character in a certain game. Wearing black knight armor, holding a dutiful sun's sword, he stood on the ice cliff and ordered the entire Scourge Legion. The light of the magic circle dissipated. When Lin Yi saw the Calamity Lord summoned by him in the center of the array, he was stunned. It was a petite figure. Not a giant at all. As the smoke and dust caused by the summoning ceremony dispersed, Lin Yi could see the figures in it more clearly. The first thing that caught his eye was a set of exquisite black knight armor and a long sword that shone with dark blue cold air. Very similar. However, as the undead monarch, he used his 2 slender legs to hold the elegy of the soul. After taking off the helmet on his head with both hands, Lin Yi was stunned. Under the steel helmet, there was an indifferent face of a beautiful girl. The girl's white hair hangs down like a waterfall. In the red eyes, there seemed to be a silent river of forgetfulness flowing. "Are you, my master?" The girl looked at Lin Yi's spiritual body in the sky, her lips trembled, and she whispered a few words. Lin Yi was stunned. It wasn't until the girl asked that Lin Yi coughed and nodded, yes. The next moment, the girl held the helmet in her right arm and sheathed the long sword elegy of the soul. Then he knelt down on one knee and performed a standard knightly salute to Lin Yi. The girl talks very little. After confirming that Lin Yi was her master, she immediately showed her surrender. As she knelt down on one knee, Lin Yi even saw the skeleton monsters and skeleton dragons that he had summoned before. He even knelt down in front of him to show his surrender. However, Lin Yi could clearly feel that it was different from those low-level skeleton monsters and skeleton dragons. This natural disaster monarch with white hair and red eyes has extremely high wisdom and also has his own emotional perception. It is not so much a summoned object as it is a living person. "Get up, do you have a name?" Lin Yi asked. The girl stood up, her quiet red eyes only flickered for a moment when she looked at Lin Yi. She shook her head slightly. Lin Yi had a headache. He is a waste of names. If she had a name, it would be easier for her to call her in the future. Now I must give her a name. After thinking for a moment, Lin Yi said, since you come from the kingdom of the dead, according to our Daxia tradition, the place you came from is called the Netherworld. Take the word, you, from the list and add my last name. I will call you Lin Yu from now on. The girl tilted her head slightly. He seems to be thinking about the meaning of this name. Then Lin Yi saw a hint of imperceptible joy on the girl's face, as if she liked the artistic conception contained in this name. He spoke softly again, yes. Lin Yi looked at Lin Yu, and soon her panel attributes appeared completely in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yu, level, LV.1. Status, Lord, Health, 57,842 57,840 seconds. Mana, 26,331 26,331. Attack, 1855. Defense, 1855. Magic resistance, 1720. Skills, Soul Slicing, Dead Soul Sword Chi, Attraction of Thousand Souls. Note, the Supreme Monarch of the Dead Kingdom, but she seems to have forgotten her past. Soul Elegy, Type, Weapon Two-Handed. Grade, Black Iron 0.00%. Equipment Level, LV.1. Exclusive Weapon, Soul Bound. Weight, 22.34 kilograms. Physical Attack Power plus 150. Strength plus 10. Endurance plus 10. Spirit plus 10. Agility plus 10. Durability. Never worn out. Unique Special Effect. Soul Devourer. When killing a target, it will devour the target's soul, gain certain attribute values, and add them to its own basic attributes. Note, the stronger the target is, the higher the status, the more attribute values you get. After reading Lin Yu's basic attributes and her weapon attributes, what made Lin Yi's eyes light up were Lin Yu's two existing skills. Soul Cutting. Type, Passive Skill. Level, First Level. Class, Necromancer. Consumption, none. Chanting Time, none. Cooling Time, none. Effect, when you damage a target with a soul, you will also cause damage to its soul equal to 20% of the damage value. After the soul of the target dies, the target will also die immediately. Note, for all creatures with souls, there is a difference between the strength of their souls and the strength of their bodies. The damage caused to the body and soul will be calculated separately. If the health of either party reaches 0, the death mechanism will be triggered. Remarks, the knife cuts the body, and the heart cuts the soul. This skill simply breaks the damage system of all current conventional skills. The concept of soul damage is introduced. For most monsters, it may have an extremely terrifying effect. It is very likely that the monster's main health has only dropped by half, but as long as the soul health reaches 0, it will trigger instant death. In addition to this special skill, what really made Lin Yi gasp was Lin Yu's other passive skill, Attraction of Thousand Souls. Attraction of Thousand Souls. Type, Passive Skill. Level, First Level. Section, Necromancer. Consumption, none. Cooling Time, none. Effect, for the Scourge Monarch, his people or his most fundamental source of power. Gives you a bonus to health, mana, attack power, defense, magic resistance, and basic 4-dimensional attributes, which is 10% of the above attributes of all the undead creatures you control. If there are still other undead creatures under your control, all fatal damage you suffer will be borne by these undead creatures instead. When the Scourge Monarch is present, the duration of summoning undead creatures in the Scourge camp will not be limited by time. Note, this is exactly the reason for being the king. Lin Yi finally understood why Lin Yu was only level 1, but his basic attributes were so explosive. Because the undead creatures he summoned before would provide Lin Yu with basic attribute bonuses. Moreover, the 3 effects of the Attraction of Thousand Souls are really too explosive. In addition to the bonus, as long as there are other summons, they will help Lin Yu resist damage. Conversely, the existence of Lin Yu itself can also infinitely extend the existence time of these skeleton soldiers and the Scourge. It's really invincible. Looking at Lin Yu's attributes, Lin Yi was very satisfied. Fortunately, he chose to evolve this skill. The improvement to the entire undead system is too big. But to be honest, Lin Yi found that even if the attribute bonus of attraction of 1,000 souls was removed, it seemed that his health and attack power were still not as high as Lin Yu at level 1. Is this the gap between humans and creatures in the abyss world? The starting line is completely different. However, Lin Yu is at the Lord level when she comes out, which means that her status is at the same level as other normal dungeon bosses. From the era of the catastrophe to the present, the humans of Blue Star have not stopped studying monsters. Among them, the strength of a monster is measured not only by level. There is also status. The most common monsters have no status. Without status, their strength will naturally be limited to a very low level. And the strong individuals in the monster groups in the leveling area. Status is the elite level. This is also the initial status. Above the elite level is the Lord level. Most dungeon bosses and wild bosses are of this status. Above the Lord level is the Overlord level. Bosses with this kind of status are basically mutant bosses. Above the Overlord level, it is the standard for entering the Abyss world. Abyss Demon King, also known as the King level. The alienated dead knight Rivendell that Lin Yi encountered before was strengthened by the breath of the Abyss, and his status was upgraded by half a level in a short period of time. From the Overlord level to the Quasi-King level. In the dungeon of the City of Dying Light, Fei Lai Kane, the shadow demon spider that Lin Yi encountered was a real King level. The King level itself also has high and low ratings. The power gap between the Quasi-King level, and Top King level is still very large. Above the King level is the Abyss Demon Emperor, referred to as the Royal level. When Qi Guogong gave Lin Yi a code name before, he considered that Lin Yi was an Abyss creature of the Royal level. Above the Royal level is the Abyss Demon Lord, referred to as the Lord level or Emperor level. So far, there are less than 10 Emperor level Abyss creatures recorded by the human race on Blue Star. And every Emperor level Abyss existence, if it really descends on Blue Star, has the power to destroy a country. This knowledge is not a secret. It is even written directly in the cultural textbooks of high school students across the country. Even Lin Yi fully understands it. Lin Yu will be able to obtain more skills when she advances in the future, so when he levels up, he must bring her with him. In the future, she should also be an important part of his complete strength, and Lin Yi cannot help but pay attention to it. So far, Lin Yi had spent most of the reward for the provincial champion. But he was also very satisfied. This wave of increase in his strength was terrifying. Lin Yi looked at the time. It was almost 12:30. Li Yuanjing had already asked someone to prepare a sumptuous lunch in the luxurious apartment reserved for Lin Yi. After lunch, Lin Yi took a short nap. When he opened his eyes again, it was already past 2 o'clock. Lin Yi washed his face and tidied himself. Then he took out the scroll that Li Yuanjing gave him and crushed it. The next moment, Lin Yi found himself teleported to a teleportation hall under Tianai. Li Yuanjing was already waiting for him here. Are you here? It's almost time, let's go. Daxia, Dijing. This is the heart of the entire Daxia. It is also the only special base city in Daxia. It is the most powerful embodiment of the human civilization of Blue Star. A huge skyscraper that towers into the sky is located in the center of the first ring of the entire imperial capital base city. There are now 3 top organizations in the entire Daxia. First, the Daxia Professional Alliance, mainly responsible for managing all idle professionals and their guilds in the entire Daxia, has the largest number of people, the most complex management structure, and the most extensive influence. Second, the Daxia Professional Alliance. In any era, if a country wants to establish a country, it needs an official professional force with an official title. In the era of disaster, the strength of this army is the ultimate embodiment of the entire country's military power. Therefore, only by becoming a member of the professional coalition can you be qualified to access high-grade equipment. Finally, the Daxia Education Administration. From the high schools that train new professionals in the base cities across the country to the top universities and colleges that supply talents to the Professional Alliance and the Professional Alliance. They are all under the jurisdiction of the Education Administration. Regarding the future of young professionals in Daxia, the resources in the hands of the Daxia Education Administration are not much less than those of the Professional Alliance. Second only to the Professional Alliance. This towering skyscraper is the third largest top institution in Daxia, the Education Administration. At this moment, underground in the Education Administration, a burst of teleportation light lit up. Lin Yi and Li Yuanjing appeared. From Tianai to Dijing, the actual geographical span is close to 100,000 kilometers. If you take the underground shuttle train, it will take at least more than 10 days. This is the disadvantage of the abyss coming and the expansion of the Blue Star territory. However, the two came here through the interprovincial super teleportation array, and arrived in just over 10 minutes. With the arrival of Lin Yi, he also found that there were already hundreds of people standing in this underground space. With the help of omniscient eyes, Lin Yi can see that people with young looks like himself are the best of the best in terms of level and profession. The lowest is a rare profession, and he is the outlier among this group of people. There are 34 provinces in the country, and the top 10 in each province are eligible to participate in the 5th round of tests. These people, including himself, should be the top 300 in the country. The next moment after Lin Yi arrived, the announcement sounded from the loudspeaker of this underground space. Dongjiang Province sends the exam. Examinee Lin Yi, the first 4 rounds of points, 8,000. First 4 rounds of points ranking, first. As the announcement fell, Lin Yi instantly felt hundreds of eyes on him. Instantly he became the focus of the whole audience. Another perfect score. The third perfect score this year. Is it Dongjiang? Dongjiang is going to take off against the will of heaven. Lin Yi also heard many comments from the accompanying people who came to take the exam like Li Yuanjing. The discussions of these people. Let Li Yuanjing be radiant. So cool. In front of peers across the country, I feel honored. At the same time, Li Yuanjing also spoke to Lin Yi in a low voice. Like you, there are 2 other people who got perfect scores in the first 4 rounds. The 3 of you are currently tied for first place. Lin Yi was not too surprised. With the strength he has shown so far. That's just the 4th level strength of ordinary professionals. Lin Yi didn't think he was the only one who jumped out of Dongjiang province and competed with the real geniuses in the entire Daxia. At this level of strength. It's just that it's not known whether others worked hard to get the perfect score. Because Lin Yi only needs to make a slight move. It is already the pinnacle of the provincial examination. Classmate Lin Yi, let me introduce to you, Li Zerui, the dog. Li Yuanjing took Lin Yi and quickly found other candidates from Dongjiang province who also came to take the exam this time. Zerui, come and say hello to classmate Lin Yi. After entering the dungeon later, you will be part of the same team. According to the practice of previous years, in the 5th round, not only will the individual first place be selected, but the provincial team will also be selected. First, if you get a good ranking, you will get more rewards. This is also a rare honor. I hope you can cooperate with each other. Li Yuanjing hasn't finished speaking yet. He was rudely interrupted by Li Zerui, who wants to team up with him. Li Yuanjing was stunned. He saw his son's face was gloomy, and he obviously hated Lin Yi to the extreme. Originally, Li Zerui actually didn't have such a big objection to Lin Yi. When it comes to this matter, it is still Li Yuanjing's fault. Because this time, not only did he personally give Lin Yi a reward, but he also left his own son behind and took the initiative to bring Lin Yi to the imperial capital. Leave him and the others alone and come to the imperial capital. This disparity in treatment made Li Zerui, who had been pampered for a long time and was used to being admired by many stars, completely annoyed. Now I am holding back my anger. Naturally, he would not be polite to Lin Yi. Li Yuanjing frowned and wanted to scold him. Unexpectedly, Lin Yi nodded first. Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Uncle Li, I'm used to being a loner. I don't like to fight in a team, so I won't cause them any trouble. Seeing what Li Yuanjing wanted to say, Lin Yi quickly added something. Completely stalemate the relationship. For Lin Yi, this kind of unnecessary social interaction has no interest in him at all. People who are not in the so-called genius ecosystem, to begin with, and forcefully integrating into them will only make themselves look like a licking dog. Why bother? Li Zerui sneered. Don't be too proud. So what if you won the first place in the first 4 rounds? You won't have to use all your skills to win the bottom of the box, right? Is it possible that we all saved our cards and can wait until this round to use them? Lin Yi believed this. because under the sight of the all-seeing eye. When he saw Li Zerui, Qi Shiying and others, he discovered that they had the highest level skills. It was not difficult to get good results in the first 4 rounds, at least much better results than now. But they all chose to hide. After pondering for a moment, Lin Yi understood why they did this. Backed by an aristocratic family, especially when his parents are either the deputy director of the education department or a senior executive of the professional alliance, they will definitely get much more information than themselves. It's just that it's impossible for Li Yuanjing to tell himself these real, insider information. The test images of the first 4 rounds can probably be viewed by all provinces across the country, and there is no secret at all. This is a competitive relationship. In the content of the 5th round of exams, there must be requirements for the more than 300 top 10 geniuses from each province to fight against each other. Then there is nothing wrong with keeping a few whole cards until this round. After thinking about this, Lin Yi felt a little more relaxed. Trump card. He doesn't know how many king bombs he has in his hands, but he hasn't had a chance to use them yet. Jingle bell. A quick ringing sound rang. In an instant, all the conversations and discussions in the entire underground space disappeared. Because everyone knows that this means that the exam is about to begin. Lin Yi's eyes narrowed. Looked towards the center of the field. From the perspective of the omniscient eye, only he could see that 7 or 8 people wearing black uniforms from a certain department of Daxia suddenly appeared. The man at the head was extremely powerful. His face was resolute, and the 2 ugly claw marks at the corners of his eyes and on the side of his face made him look cold and ferocious. He seemed to be aware of Lin Yi's gaze. He also glanced at Lin Yi. Even Lin Yi could sense his evil aura. There must be a lot of lives on hand. Boss, I didn't expect that among this batch of candidates, there would be people who could detect our existence in advance. Li Chenyi gave his subordinate a silent look. Subsequently, the invisibility state was released at the same time. Afterwards, Li Chenyi announced to all the candidates from all provinces, please maintain silence. I am Li Chenyi, your chief examiner for this 5th round of exams. Before reading the rules of this round of examinations, as usual, I will show the top 3 people in the country this year in the group awards. As Li Chenyi narrated, a holographic projection of a spiritual crystal light screen also appeared in the middle of the venue. Let everyone see it. At the moment of seeing the reward, Lin Yi could clearly hear the sound of Li Zerui and others around him, and even Li Yuanjing gasping for air. The first thing everyone checked was of course the first reward. On the big screen, 4 rewards were written. 1. Daxia Merit Points, 1000 points. 2. A set of self-selected platinum-level suits permanently obtained. 3. A-level talent spiritual crystal *1. 4. Trial Tower Daxia National District Exemption Quota *1. In addition to the self-selected qualification for platinum-level weapons. Lin Yi had almost no idea about other rewards. However, judging from the reactions of Li Yuanjing and others, this reward was very terrifying. Uncle Li, can you tell me what these rewards are for? Lin Yi asked. Although Li Yuanjing was a little regretful that his son and Lin Yi had not been able to get along well. But he knew that Lin Yi was definitely not an ordinary person, and he couldn't completely become enemies with Lin Yi because of his son's attitude. So he immediately explained to Lin Yi patiently, you should know what the concept of a platinum-level equipment set is. In short, the country has opened a back door for the top scholar in the country and directly awarded a set of equipment that best suits your profession. This is a reasonable and legal permanent acquisition. Then there are Daxia Merit Points. For professionals, this is something that only professionals who have completed tasks issued by A-level or above professional guilds, or joined the Daxia Professional Alliance and made meritorious contributions are eligible to get. In our Daxia territory, merit points are the highest level of exchange items. You may not have a very clear concept of what I said. Take the breakthrough spirit crystal you chose before, for example, you only need 50 merit points to exchange for one. After hearing what Li Yuanjing said, Lin Yi understood. Good guy, only 3 breakthrough spiritual crystals can be awarded to those who are ranked first in the province. After ranking first in the country, 1000 Great Sha merit points can be directly exchanged for 20 points. But if you use it all to exchange for breakthrough spiritual crystals, you will lose money. because Daxia's merit points can be exchanged for all precious treasure rewards at T1. A few T0 level treasures can also be redeemed. Lin Yi was secretly shocked. That's really good stuff. Among the T2 level treasures, there are many good things that Lin Yi currently wants. Then the effects of T1 and T0 level treasures are estimated to be even more powerful. Then there's the A-level talent spiritual crystal. This one is even more heavyweight. But actually, I don't need to explain it. You should be able to guess what effect it has from its name. Lin Yi nodded. He had guessed before that after using this thing, it would add an A-level talent to professionals. But this effect is a little too outrageous. So he didn't dare to be sure. Because talent is so important to a professional. My current source of combat power can almost be said to be entirely dependent on the skill points given by SSS level talents, as well as Krypton gold rewards. One more talent will almost immediately improve the overall combat power. And also affects the abyss. Many professionals will build their own skill set system around talent effects. With mutual cooperation and linkage, the strength can naturally be fully displayed. This thing is one of the T0 level treasures. The annual output in the country is within 5 fingers. In previous years, the top reward in the country was the B level. This year, it has been upgraded to a level. It seems that this year's 5th round of actual combat dungeons will be more difficult than before. Li Yuanjing has already begun to worry about the difficulty of this 5th round of exams. Lin Yi, however, felt like nothing was wrong and continued to advance the process and asked, "Then what is the last trial tower?" "Oh, this. The last 4th reward is a fixed reward that can be obtained by the top player in the country every year. It has not changed for hundreds of years. The full name of the trial tower is the Upturned Sky Tower. It is a copy that appeared after the beginning of the Cataclysm era. There are a total of 4 trial towers around the world. One of them is on a small island more than 4,000 kilometers away from the East China Sea of Daxia. Later, our ancestors of Daxia discovered that this copy is extremely special. It can be said to be a projection of a world in the abyss onto the Blue Star world. And after entering the trial tower, as the number of clearance levels increases, the final rewards will be greater. The reward given by the trial tower is called Wuhun. You can understand it as an extremely special soul-like summon. The Wuhun also needs to be advanced and upgraded. At the same time, part of the Wuhun's attributes will be shared with the professions itself. The better the performance of the trial tower, the older the awakened martial spirit. The ancient martial spirit will even carry certain exclusive skills. The improvement of the professional's combat power cannot be ignored. Currently the only way to obtain a martial spirit is through the trial tower. So since the birth of this dungeon, countless wars have started among Blue Star countries over the qualifications to enter this dungeon. For example, we in Daxia have often had fierce battles with monkeys from neighboring Korea, Japan and some island countries because of this reason before. Later, after the establishment of the Global Professionals Council, the qualifications for entering the 4 trial towers around the world became systematic. Have you heard of the Pan-Asian Young Professionals Summit? Lin Yi nodded. He knew this, he had seen it on TV. The nature of the competition is probably similar to the Asian Games in previous lives on Earth. This peak competition will be held every year. Those who finish in the top 10 in the competition will be eligible to enter the trial tower. According to normal procedures, 3 months before the opening of the trial tower every year, our Daxia country will conduct its own domestic trials, and finally select 10 people to officially participate in the peak competition. And as long as you get the top 3 in the National College Entrance Examination, you will be exempted from the exam and will not need to participate in the national competition. You only need to wait for the Pan-Asian Young Professionals Summit to start. You will be directly qualified to participate. Lin Yi completely understood. He saw on the light screen that not only the top pick in the country had this exemption qualification. There are actually second and third ones too. The detailed rules for the 5th round of this year's National College Entrance Examination will be announced below. After showing the rewards, Li Chenyi did not waste any time and immediately began to describe the content of the 5th round of exams. The light curtain flashed. The holographic projection appears with details of the copy. The 5th round of testing venue. Abyss copy, Nose Ruins. 10 minutes later, after signing the life and death certificate, candidates confirmed to participate in the 5th round will enter the special copy for a 24-hour assessment. There are currently more than 20,000 monsters in this copy. The distribution area and strength of monsters are completely random. The lower and upper limits are given below for reference. The weakest monster's level is LV.30, and its status is Lord level. The strongest monster's level is LV.80, and its status is the top King level. Lin Yi once again heard the audience gasping for air. The lowest monster level has reached the level of most people at this moment, level 30. And the person is also a lord. This means that there are no ordinary soldiers or even elite monsters among the monsters inside. Everyone is a boss. Monsters are still randomly distributed and completely unpredictable. This means that if you are unlucky, it is not impossible that you will encounter a top-level king-level monster as soon as you enter, and it will fall into a box on the ground. Li Chenyi seemed to be satisfied with the reactions of everyone present. He continued to add, "Kill these monsters and you can earn points. The monster level is the base point reward, and the monster level is the multiplication multiplier. The multiplication factor of the Lord's position is 1, and the multiplication factor of the top Lord is 1.5. The quasi-overlord multiplication factor is 2, the overlord multiplication factor is 3, and the overlord multiplication factor is 4. The quasi-king factorial calculation multiplier is 10, the king factorial calculation multiplier is 15, and the king factorial calculation multiplier is 20. Does anyone have any questions about the above rules?" Lin Yi saw someone raising his hand and asked, "Will these monsters in the dungeon be rewarded with experience, materials and equipment after killing them?" Li Chenyi nodded. "Yes. The Dungeon of Nose Relics is a special dungeon that no one has cleared so far. There are no monsters in the dungeon. All monsters are manually selected and placed. Relevant dungeon background and information will be described in detail in the spiritual crystal bracelet you get after entering the dungeon, so I won't go into details." Lin Yi heard this. His eyes lit up. Killing monsters in this round of exam dungeons requires experience. Lin Yu, whom he had just contracted, would be able to grow rapidly in this copy. Others may be troubled by the difficulty of this dungeon. Lin Yi was already feeling secretly happy. Is there such a holy land for leveling? Seeing that no one continued to ask questions, Li Chenyi continued to explain the exam rules. After entering the dungeon, in the initial area, you will get an exclusive spiritual crystal bracelet. Every hour on the bracelet, the score rankings of everyone in the current instance will be refreshed in real time, and the locations of the top 10 candidates in the rankings will be marked. Hear this. Most people's expressions changed. Sure enough, Li Chenyi's next words made everyone realize that this 5th round was a life and death killing game. In addition to gaining points by killing monsters, you can also gain points by defeating other candidates. The bracelet issued to you has a survival function. If you encounter an invincible monster or a life or death crisis in the dungeon, please press the red button on the side of the bracelet and you will be teleported out of the dungeon. At the same time, this also declares that you have failed this round of testing and your points will be reset to 0. However, considering the complexity and unexpected situations of the Abyss dungeon, as well as the casualties over the years, all candidates are requested to sign a life and death certificate. Death or serious disability during the test is your own choice and has nothing to do with the entire examination team. Li Chenyi just finished speaking. Groups of invigilators wearing uniforms and holding relevant certificates came into the field. A life and death contract was issued to every candidate present. This process makes all candidates nervous. This means that the 5th round of testing they participated in is serious. It's different from previous rounds. It is really possible to die. But after Lin Yi signed his name on the life and death contract, he found that among the more than 300 candidates in the entire examination room, not one of them chose to abstain at this step. I think so. It is estimated that their family members and the test takers who brought them here have told them to some extent about the dangers of the 5th round of testing. If I really give up, I probably won't come to Imperial Capital anymore. After confirming that everyone's life and death contracts had been submitted and taken effect, Li Chenyi, the examiner, said loudly, "It's time for the exam to begin. All candidates please enter the test copy." As soon as he finished speaking, a spatial rift appeared in the middle of the entire circular underground space. The thick and dangerous breath of the abyss spurted out. The copy light curtain flashed with a dangerous purple-red evil light, and the sound was terrifying. A few minutes later, all the candidates who participated in the 5th round in the entire underground waiting space entered the copy. The personnel responsible for delivering the exams were all invited to a large auditorium to observe the specific conditions of all the candidates in the copy. At the same time, Li Chenyi, the examiner, arranged for all candidates to enter the copy. He got on the elevator and went all the way upstairs. After reporting the situation to the top management of Daxia's Real Power Corps, he returned to his office, pressed the screencast button, and started watching the situation in the copy. This is his duty, and according to the instructions from the top management, he needs to broadcast the live broadcast of the 5th round of testing in the copy. Boss, take a break. According to the practice of previous years, it is basically impossible for any battle to break out at the time we first entered. Half a day will pass before it reaches a fever pitch. The people under Li Chenyi advised. It can be said that they have worked very hard for this 5th round of testing. Especially Li Chenyi himself, who had not slept for several days. Li Chenyi shook his head. At this point in time, most people should be familiar with the dungeon environment and collecting information on monsters. And according to the practice in previous years, some people will choose not to kill monsters at all, but wait for the last few hours of the dungeon's limited time to attack those on the rankings and earn points through plunder. But don't forget, every year there are a few special unlucky ones. Li Chenyi said this. In an instant, several smart people realized what Li Chenyi was talking about. Boss, are you talking about a situation where you are teleported next to a very powerful monster as soon as you enter, and you have no way to hide, so you have to fight? Li Chenyi nodded. Ah, boss, it seems that you were right. It seems that there is really an unlucky guy who landed next to the lair of the leader of the snow mountainous area, the golden-winged Dapeng King, as soon as the refresh happened. The spiritual crystal bracelets worn by all candidates can not only provide information to these candidates in the copy. In fact, it is also an integrated communicator. It can transmit the coordinates of the area where the wearer is currently in the instance in real time and broadcast the scene near the wearer live. At this moment, the invigilator who was responsible for collecting the regional coordinates of more than 300 candidates in the dungeon suddenly exclaimed, which made Li Chenyi perk up. Coming. This situation does not happen every year, but when it occurs, it often means extremely heavy casualties. Li Chenyi braced himself and quickly ordered, immediately target the candidates who changed their names and project their real-time images. Called a special rescue team in the dungeon to go to the snowy mountainous area for rescue and make secondary preparations. Although when talking about the rules, Li Chenyi explained the difficulty of this abyss copy and made everyone sign a life and death certificate. But they can't really ignore death. When such a crisis occurs, relevant rescue procedures must be initiated just in case. The next moment, the projection screen appeared. Li Chenyi's eyes narrowed. It's him. On the big screen, it was Lin Yi who was refreshed and teleported to the top of the mountain and shuddered instantly. Li Chenyi did not forget that when they appeared, the first person to see through his disguise was this guy on the big screen. In the picture, Lin Yi obviously did not expect that he would be teleported to this ghost place as soon as he entered the dungeon. At this moment, the area he was in was the northern high mountain area of the entire Noah ruins. The entire Noah ruins can be divided into 5 major areas. The extremely cold high mountain area in the north. The desert area in the west. The swamp area in the south, the hilly area in the east. And the Noah wreckage area in the center. If you want to say which area has the most extreme weather, it is the desert area and the high mountain area. People who refresh in these 2 areas are all unlucky. As for people like Lin Yi, who refreshed directly near a king-level boss nest, he is even more unlucky. Cry. It seems that he sensed the breath of a living person. The next moment, an extremely loud cry sounded. The sound was so loud that Lin Yi even had to cover his ears. Then, the strong wind blew up the snow on the cliff. In front of Lin Yi, a terrifying golden eagle with golden feathers, a wingspan of more than 10 meters, and claws that were enough to crush the rocks flapped its wings. It flew out of the huge nest on the top of the mountain. The brutal and sharp eagle eyes stared at Lin Yi, as if it would swoop down and tear him to pieces in the next moment. On the other side, Lin Yi in the picture looked relatively calm. The space around him twisted. The next moment, a slender figure wearing black knight armor appeared. Lin Yu was summoned by Lin Yi. Seeing the fierce golden eagle in the sky, Lin Yu's eyes were as calm as water, and the soul elegy was unsheathed. She stood in front of Lin Yi, full of fighting spirit. Is this his summons? How can there be such a human-like summoned object? This summon, why is it only level 1? The invigilator responsible for monitoring the data related to the candidate's copies exclaimed. They can obtain some information about Lin Yi's skills through the bracelet he wears. But it's just basic information. Details are completely invisible. On the one hand, the privacy of candidates is taken into consideration, and on the other hand, their technology cannot do it. But when Lin Yu's level information appeared on the big screen, Li Chenyi was a little confused. Ah, what is he doing? A level 1 summoned object, against a golden-winged rock king whose status is indeed king level. Ignorance or bravery? Or is this one of his trump cards? Li Chenyi fell into thinking. His impression of Lin Yi couldn't be said to be good or bad, but at least he had an impression. You won't be like other candidates who can't even impress him. But Lin Yi's current behavior, to be honest, made him a little confused. But Li Chenyi did not slow down, and immediately streamed the real-time picture through the spiritual crystal. Because there are too many pairs of eyes paying attention to the 5th and final round of exams at this moment. In another auditorium separated by a wall from Li Chenyi, Li Yuanjing saw Lin Yishi standing in front of the golden-winged Dapeng King on the big screen. Immediately everything went dark. How could he be so unlucky? The joy he had felt just now was completely gone now. Li Yuanjing even heard discussions from his colleagues from other provinces, who were also in the education department's institutional system. Is this the guy who ranks first in Dongjiang this year? It's him. How could Dongjiang produce candidates with perfect scores in 4 rounds in previous years? This year, he stepped on shit. I just looked down on Deputy Dongjiang's triumphant expression. Haha, me too, this time they will suffer the worst. But why is this kid alone? Didn't he form a team with others? Every year there are always people like this who don't know the heights of the world. It is human nature to add insult to injury and discuss right and wrong. It is vividly reflected at this moment. Li Yuanjing clenched his hands, feeling anxious and angry. He even couldn't help but want to get angry. At this time, another person sitting next to him patted his shoulder and gave him a calm look. Sitting next to him is naturally the top leader of the Dongjiang Education Department. Yan Song. Don't worry, just trust him. At this time, Yan Song showed that he was many times more determined than his deputy Li Yuanjing. Although he had already come to the imperial capital to make a final preparation report for this final round during the first 4 rounds of exams this morning. But he still paid attention to Lin Yi. He is the same as Qi Guogong. Everyone can see that Lin Yi actually has a trump card that is useless. Now maybe, that trump card can turn things around. Dongjiang. The first examination room is still in the examination room. At this moment, the 5th round of exam streaming from Imperial Capital was officially connected on the big screen. As the top educational institutions in each province, they are naturally qualified to watch the broadcast. After Li Yuanjing left, Qi Guogong was interested in Lin Yi and also concerned about his granddaughter. Naturally, I also came to watch the 5th round of testing in the afternoon. Qi Guogong even felt a little excited when he saw Lin Yi facing the golden-winged Dapeng King on the big screen. He wanted to see how Lin Yi would respond to such an enemy. However, the next moment, Qi Guogong was stunned. Because, he saw Lin Yu appearing next to Lin Yi. As a mage, he can obviously see more differences than others. Necromancy. Lin Yi, in addition to the fire, wind, and ice elements, even mastered the necromantic element. How many types of magic does he know? In copy. Looking at Lin Yu standing in front of him, Lin Yi also felt an unprecedented sense of security. Even though Lin Yu's figure looks weak, his level is only level 1. But Lin Yi knew that she should have no problem dealing with this king-level boss. From the perspective of the all-seeing eye, the attributes of the golden-winged Dapeng King were clearly visible to Lin Yi. Golden-winged Dapeng King. Level. LV.70. Rank. King level. Race. Silver Feather Dapeng. HP. 923,923 thousandths. Mana value. 210,210 thousandths. Power, 5,200. Spirit, 3,500. Agility, 7,330. Endurance, 6,650. Active skills: diving attack, thorn feather flying, wind binding, extreme speed, violent. Weakness: eyes. If you put this attribute in other people's hands, it might already be a headache. But for Lin Yi, this so-called golden-winged rock king is not as good as the alienated undead knight and the shadow demon spider. And he also wanted to see how Lin Yu performed when facing a king-level boss that was 70 levels stronger than him. Li. Several more sharp cries came from the lair of the golden-winged Dapeng king. Lin Yi saw another one that was slightly smaller than the golden-winged Dapeng king and had only silver feathers flying out of its nest. In addition, 3 smaller young birds poked their heads out. This family all lived here, and Lin Yi provoked 5 monsters. The female one was at the quasi-king level. The 3 young birds were also at the overlord level. The 5 members of this family were indeed very powerful, no wonder they could dominate the entire snow mountain area. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, countless sharp bayonet-like feathers flew out from the golden-winged rock king. They stabbed straight at the vital points of Lin Yi's body. After reaching the king level, the intelligence of the monster will be greatly improved compared to the lower level. Directly attacking Lin Yi, the summoner, is obviously a more cost-effective choice. However, although the feathers are fast, the sword light is faster. Lin Yi only felt a flash in front of his eyes, and saw Lin Yu stepping on the sword step, raising the sword sideways, and in the blink of an eye, he swung out 4 or 5 sword auras flashing with strong undead black light, cutting off all the flying feathers that attacked the sky. After the sword light shattered the flying feathers, it continued to move forward and slashed towards one of the silver-feathered rock chicks that was baring its teeth and screaming. The sword light slashed across the neck of the chick. The next moment, Lin Yi saw the health bar of the chick suddenly drop by 1 level. But then the chick wailed, and saw its health was emptied in an instant, closed its eyes, and remained motionless. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. This is the effect of soul cutting. As a lord-level monster, the chick itself has a lot of health. Even Lin Yu's dead sword chi couldn't kill it with damage. But the mechanism of directly damaging the soul allowed him to kill the chick instantly. Seeing his offspring being killed, the eyes of the 2 rocks, 1 male and 1 female, in the sky instantly turned red. Then they entered a violent state. Their attacks were no longer directed at Lin Yi. Instead, they were directed at Lin Yu. In the following battle, even Lin Yi took a few steps back. Feathers flew and the wind swept. The 2 eagles cooperated closely with each other, one claw and the other pecked. They began to attack Lin Yu crazily. But Lin Yu was like an artist dancing wildly in the storm. She didn't let a drop of rain fall on her. She completely dodged all the attacks. Speed, dexterity, and fighting skills were all maxed out. Lin Yi, who was standing next to her, couldn't help but applaud her. In the invigilation room, Li Chenyi's eyes were wide open. Only level 1, but it has such a terrifying fighting power. What kind of heaven-defying summon is this? This young man. Is this summon really only level 1? That's not right. How can this summon have such skilled fighting skills? To put it bluntly, Huzi, this way of using the sword and the dodging skills are better than you, right? Shut up. The man called Huzi is a warrior professional under Li Chenyi. Li Chenyi himself is a 7th-turn assassin professional. These people under him are all elites among elites. Especially Sun Hu, his fighting skills are the best among the best. He even won a terrifying record of 36 consecutive victories in the whole camp competition. He is almost invincible at the same level. He is not invincible even if he crosses the level. At this moment, Sun Hu looked at Lin Yu on the screen. His face was so solemn. His hands were shaking slightly. On the one hand, he was also a melee professional who used a sword, and he was also a master. When he saw Lin Yu's fighting performance, he couldn't help but be aroused by the fighting spirit. On the other hand, he brought himself into the scene. If he fought against this summoned creature 1v1, it seemed that he would not be able to gain any advantage in a short time. Especially when he did not use various high-level skills and simply fought with swords, he was not sure that he could win. Seeing Sun Hu's reaction, Li Chenyi was also a little shocked. He glanced at Lin Yi again. If this undead summoned creature did not have independent consciousness, then the truly terrifying thing was the young man in front of him. Without independent consciousness, the one who controlled the summoned creature to fight was naturally the summoner himself. And Lin Yi actually had such a terrifying fighting skill. This could not be developed without thousands of battles. And the most important thing is that his profession is a mage, not a warrior. This kid is a little too evil. Imperial Capital, General Administration of Education. Top floor. The huge meeting room was solemn and dignified. However, there were not many people in the meeting room. Even though Li Chenyi was the chief examiner of this exam and his military rank was not low, he was not qualified to sit here. Those who can sit here, they are the ones who can really stomp their feet and shake the entire Daxia professional world. The main seat in the conference room and the seats around the main seat are completely empty. Because even those who can sit here at this moment are not qualified to sit in the main seat and the audience seats next to the main seat. In the first two seats of the second row, there is a middle-aged man in a black suit and an old man with white hair and beard, hunched body, and wearing a Zhongshan suit. The two watched the battle between Lin Yu and the golden-winged Dapeng King and his wife on the big screen, but their faces did not show too much surprise. Standing high, the vision is naturally different. This handsome young man is also the first in the first 4 rounds of this exam. Although the old man is old, he can still see the majesty between his eyebrows. He raised the red sandalwood crutch in his hand and pointed at Lin Yi, who was already standing in the corner on the big screen. The man in a suit sitting next to the old man smiled elegantly and said softly, "Yes, Mr. Meng, his name is Lin Yi, from Dongjiang Province, and he is tied for first place with Sha Yuyan and Lu Yu, who you have been optimistic about before. He is a mage, right? I think this should be a summoned creature of the necromancy system." Meng hit the nail on the head. The elegant man in a suit nodded. Yes, he has shown 4 magic specializations. In the previous 4 rounds, he showed specializations in the 3 elements of fire, wind, and ice, and the spells he used were not low, all above the 4th level. This handsome young man is not bad. Although he is just an ordinary profession, his professional specialization has not fallen behind. He must not be slack on weekdays. Maybe this year, he really has a chance to win the championship. The elegant man sitting next to Mr. Meng just chuckled. Oh, Mr. Meng is so optimistic about him. But I think what he has shown so far is just okay. He may have a chance to be in the top 10 of the list. But the top 3, it's impossible. Compared with Sha Yuyan and Lu Yu, his profession is too different. And as far as I know, not only are these 2 people's professions epic, but their skill specialization is even above the 5th level. The elegant man's name is Xiao Xuanyi. He is mainly responsible for the admissions approval of the top professional colleges and universities in the country every year. Although his professional level is not at the vice-national level, but he is also a director-level official. Having been engaged in this job for a long time, his vision is also very sharp. He has seen too many geniuses, to be honest, compared with those real monsters. This Lin Yi, that's all. He doesn't understand why Mr. Meng is so optimistic about Lin Yi. In short, he has a different opinion. Mr. Meng did not refute, but just chuckled and continued to concentrate on the battle on the big screen. The 2 big guys were drinking and talking about heroes. The countless senior officials of the General Administration of Education sitting behind them did not dare to speak. After all, this is not the examination office of the first examination hall in Dongjiang. Those who work here should be cautious in their words and deeds. The big guy did not ask, so he would never say a word more. But they also have their own opinions. They are not as high-minded as Xiao Xuanyi and Mr. Meng. In their opinion, Lin Yi is actually outrageous. You know, this is just a level 1 summon. Just as Meng Lao and Xiao Xuanyi were discussing with each other, the situation in the dungeon also took a sharp turn for the worse. Of course, the one who took a sharp turn for the worse was the Dapeng couple. Both bosses were in a frenzy state, which would normally be triggered when the health dropped by 50%. But Lin Yu's previous act of killing the young bird with 1 sword made them furious, and naturally entered a frenzy state with full health. In a frenzy state, their attack frequency and attack damage would increase significantly. But this abominable human summon in front of them was terribly oily. It might only hit once after hundreds of attacks. And even if it hit, she didn't seem to be seriously injured. Her movements were still agile and swift. On the other hand, every time they suffered damage from the undead sword energy, they would make the two Dapang bosses wail. That was a pain that life could not bear. It was heartbreaking and deep in the soul. So, although it was only 3 minutes since the battle began, but the two big pung birds were no longer in good condition. Dizziness and exhaustion continued to come. What they didn't know was that although their health was still in a healthy state of more than 70%, but their soul health had already entered Lin Yu's killing line. Two more black glowing undead sword chi broke through the air and slashed out, and the two big pung bosses, who were already powerless, were accurately hit in the waist and abdomen. Two shrill booming sounds resounded throughout the entire northern snow-capped mountains. Countless beasts and birds trembled. They sensed that the overlord of this snowy mountain had fallen. From Lin Yi's perspective, the two big pung bosses still had more than half of their health bars, which were emptied at the speed of light. Then two huge bird corpses fell on the top of the peak, and 3 or 4 pieces of equipment shining with golden luster suddenly exploded. At the same time, white light appeared on Lin Yu's body. She upgraded, and she was directly born more than 8.5 levels in one breath. In the amazed eyes of countless people, Lin Yi walked to Lin Yu and said something. Under the helmet visor, there was a corner that Lin Yi had not seen. Lin Yu's cheeks were already red. Then, Lin Yi picked up the equipment on the ground and raised his hand. A necromancy array appeared under the two huge bird corpses. Under the infusion of black light, the two dead Dapang boss actually opened their scarlet eyes again, flapped their wings and flew again. As the living, their bird life ended. As the dead, their future was extended to eternity by Lin Yi. Wow! The invigilation room where Li Chenyi was, and the senior officials of the education administration from various provinces of Daxia who were watching the battle next door. There was a burst of uproar. They knew how strong these two big pung birds were. However, after Lin Yi's summons killed them, it was only the next moment. These two bosses instantly became Lin Yi's summons. This is a bit exaggerated and against the sky. Is this a skill of the mage's necromancy system? Lao Jiao, you are a mage, explain it to the brothers. In the invigilation room, the atmosphere was not so tense. Li Chenyi is also a good boss, so his subordinates can speak freely at this moment. Someone shouted immediately. Lao Jiao, who was called, looked confused. Then he cursed. How the hell do I know what skills the necromancer has? You ask me, a light mage. Isn't that the mortal enemy of your light mage? Know yourself and know the enemy. I thought you knew. Our light mage's mortal enemy is the dark mage. The necromancer is at most to the point of spitting when seeing it, but it's not to the point of fighting to the death. Stop arguing, I'm thinking. Old Zhao's mentality was a little unstable because of his colleagues. Originally, he was a little jealous when he saw Lin Yi, a mage who had 4 methods and 4 cultivations and was proficient in everything. Now he saw that Lin Yi had a skill of resurrecting the dead that he had never seen before. He was even more shocked. But it's nonsense to say that he doesn't understand the necromancer at all. They are all top students who graduated from the mage department of a 211 professional university. It's impossible for them to be lame in theoretical knowledge. After Li Chenyi told him to think about it carefully, Lao Jiao finally slapped his thigh, pointed at the screen and said, this skill is not what the necromancer should have. The necromancer does have a skill that can pull up the killed monsters again. That skill is level 4 and is called Resurrection of the Dead. But the effect is only effective for monsters below the Lord level, and the duration is only 2 minutes. The attribute value is only 1/10 of what it was before it was alive. This skill is used as a meat shield by necromancer mages in most cases. After killing the monster, pull an elite level durable monster as a bodyguard. It doesn't matter how much damage it deals, just help block the skills. Li Chenyi listened to Lao Jiao's analysis. His eyes were solemn. Lin Yi, is this your trump card? The top floor council hall. The corner of Meng Lao's mouth curled up a smile. Xiao Xiao, do you still think he has no chance now? Xiao Xuanyi looked at the screen and saw 2 big rock bosses flying above Lin Yi's head in almost full strength, and fell silent. Then he smiled freely. Meng Lao, you are more sharp in vision. I still need to learn from you. Meng Lao laughed loudly when he heard this. But Xiao Xuanyi changed the subject immediately and continued, but even so, it is still not enough. Some gaps cannot be made up by numbers, and it is still uncertain how many undead summons he can control. Xiao Xuanyi's analysis is not unreasonable. For all summoners, the number of summons is the most troublesome thing. Because human mental power is limited, controlling multiple summons at the same time will cause nerves to go wrong. So most summoners follow the school of quality. Replace low-quality summoners with high-quality ones to keep the total number of summons unchanged. In response, Meng Lao just looked at Lin Yi on the big screen and said lightly, "Keep watching, it's just the beginning now. What this kid hides is far beyond your imagination." In the copy, after successfully killing 2 Dapeng boss, the remaining 2 young birds did not escape Lin Yu's poisonous hands. She killed them all with 1 sword. Her level also rose to level 11. At the same time, Lin Yi received a series of system prompts. "Congratulations, you have reached level 43 and gained 12 free attribute points. Killing monsters will give the following attribute values to the only weapons soul elegy. Strength plus 3.9, Agility plus 3.2, Endurance plus 2.9, Spirit plus 1.2, Maximum Health plus 177, Maximum Mana plus 13. Lin Yi saw that the attributes on Lin Yu's panel instantly rose. Just killing 5 monsters, he got nearly 100 attribute points for free. Lin Yi almost cried with greed. He could only get 20 points of basic 4-dimensional attributes by leveling up, plus free attribute points, it was only 32 points. It was completely incomparable with Lin Yu. And as they killed more monsters, it was foreseeable that Lin Yu's attribute panel would usher in a wave of explosive growth. Growable weapons are really terrifying. But in fact, the fighting skills that Lin Yu showed in the previous battle shocked Lin Yi and impressed him. A fool who only knew how to chop with a sword and a warrior with superb sword skills and rich combat experience. Even if the level and attribute gap between the two is more than 10 times, Lin Yi believes that the latter has a greater chance of winning. Lin Yi handed over the control of the 2 Dapeng boss to Lin Yu, and then said, "It's too cold here, let's go down the mountain first." Lin Yu nodded. Under her control, the 2 Dapeng birds, 1 male and 1 female, crawled on the ground obediently. Lin Yi and Lin Yu rode up. Then the rock flapped its wings, carrying the strong wind, and swooped down from the top of the mountain. 1 hour later, the border of the eastern hilly area. Lin Yi sat on a lush grassland, with a gentle breeze and warm sunshine. Not far away was a lake formed by the melting water of the snow mountain. Lin Yu was at the lake at this moment. She took off the black armor covering her whole body and began to wipe and clean it with lake water. The battle just now made her bloody. Of course, most of it was the blood of the 2 bosses. She herself was almost uninjured. There was a bonfire burning next to the lake, and on the bonfire was a young silver-feathered rock that she had just killed. While cleaning her armor, the girl kept an eye on the food on the bonfire. From time to time, she would stand up, turn the grill, and cut a few times with her sword. The lake surface was like a huge mirror, reflecting the girl's beautiful profile. It made Lin Yi feel a little surprised. Not long after, Lin Yi saw Lin Yu coming over with a few pieces of freshly roasted meat slices that were still sizzling with oil in leaves picked from somewhere. It was so fragrant that Lin Yi didn't care about the heat. He picked up a piece of meat with his hand and put it in his mouth to chew. The oil and meat fragrance exploded in his mouth, making Lin Yi exclaim in his heart that it was delicious. "You can cook." Lin Yi felt more and more that his summon was extraordinary. Well, she couldn't be regarded as a summon. She should be regarded as a partner. Lin Yu nodded, and then whispered, "I found some rock salt over there, so I picked a little to season it. Is it delicious?" "Delicious." Lin Yi praised generously. He took another piece of meat and put it in his mouth. Seeing Lin Yi eating so happily, Lin Yu's face also rarely showed a smile. It seemed that she was also very happy to get Lin Yi's praise. At this moment, Lin Yi suddenly felt that the spiritual crystal watch on his right wrist vibrated. A light curtain then appeared. 1 hour has passed since the start of the 5th round of testing. The current standings are announced. Names or teams began to appear on the light curtain. At this moment, 1 hour has passed since the start of the dungeon. The time for the first wave of rankings to be announced has also come. After seeing the top 10 on the list clearly, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Then he smiled. Interesting. It seems that those who can participate in the 5th round are really something. On the list, the person at the top of the list is not Lin Yi. Even the second place is not him. But two unfamiliar names. Current scoreboard. First place, Xia Yuyan, points, 11,467, team, none, location, desert area. Second place, Lu Yu, points, 8,433, team, none, location, nose wreckage area. Third place, Lin Yi, points, 7,219, team, none, location, hilly area. Fourth place, Chu Ran, points, 1329, team, Chu Ran team size, 13 people, location, nose wreckage area. Lin Yi was not angry, nor was he anxious. He did not think that he could get any first mover advantage just because he happened to be teleported next to the nest of the golden winged rock king. Because in this 1 hour, for those who are really capable, they don't need luck, they can also take the initiative to challenge those powerful monsters and beasts. Earn points. And the entire 5th round will last for 24 hours. It is not a good thing to be on the list in the first hour. It will only become someone else's hunting target. Lin Yi now clicks on any person on the leaderboard, and a tracking interface will pop up later. An arrow will appear on the spiritual crystal light screen to help you continue to track your target. And the more than 7,000 points Lin Yi has now are also earned by Lin Yu from hunting other monsters later. The Golden Winged Rock King's family alone can only provide him with more than 3,000 points. Clang! Lin Yi heard a sword ringing in his ear. Looking at Lin Yu, he found that she had pulled out the soul elegy and was on guard. Someone is coming. Lin Yi looked up at the sky. They saw a young silver-feathered rock circling above their heads. It seemed that the warning signal was sent by it. Lin Yu received it immediately. There are many people, and they have formed a team. Lin Yu received the message from the mobile scout above again and continued. Are they coming for us? Lin Yu closed her eyes, as if she was sharing the vision of the young silver-feathered rock above. Then, she opened her eyes. A total of 11 people, coming towards us. Lin Yi and Lin Yu have been resting in this place for more than half an hour. Lin Yu had told him before that there were traces of fighting in the distance. This means that someone must have hunted monsters here, perhaps a lone ranger like himself, or perhaps a team. Now it seems that it is a team. And after he ranked 3rd on the list, he also became the hunting target of that team. To be honest, Lin Yi did not want to conflict with other candidates at this stage. On the one hand, at this point in time, these people must not have too many points, and even if they were eliminated, they would not earn too many points. It would be better to raise some GU, wait for these weaklings to fight each other and eliminate a group of weak ones by themselves, then Lin Yi will eliminate those who are slightly stronger and get more points. On the other hand, his main purpose of entering this dungeon is actually to level up. Especially to raise Lin Yu's level as soon as possible. Lin Yi is too lazy to trigger this unnecessary battle. But since others have come to him, Lin Yi does not intend to escape. Lin Yi heard dense footsteps coming from the grove not far away. Then several people came out of the woods and appeared in front of Lin Yi. It's really you. One of the people in the crowd was obviously shocked when he saw Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked over and was also stunned. That person was Li Zerui, who had been unhappy with Lin Yi outside the dungeon before. Following him, Lin Yi also saw several people who got in the top 10 of the provincial exam in Dongjiang this time. But in addition to this, there are also new faces. Lin Yi doesn't know what happened to the Dongjiang provincial team. Anyway, Li Zerui only appeared here with a few people from the Dongjiang provincial team. And it is obvious that Li Zerui himself is not the captain of this team. The captain of this team stood in the front row and turned around to ask, what is his profession and what skills does he have? Tell me. Li Zerui felt a little guilty. After all, Lin Yi was from their Dongjiang province. They should have been united. Now he had to expose Lin Yi's profession and skills in front of others. He felt a little guilty. But when he thought of Lin Yi's oppression of him, Li Zerui hated him so much that he finally exposed Lin Yi's profession. Ordinary profession. Are you sure? So what if you are more specialized? You Dongjiang are really getting worse every year. Hearing Li Zerui's words, the whole team looked relieved. Most people have a fixed mindset. That is, the rarity level of the profession is almost linked to the strength of the professional. At least in their current situation, this is the case. Ordinary, rare, legendary, epic. Of these 5 rarity levels of professions, ordinary is undoubtedly the bottom one. If he is put together with this group of legendary professions, he will be ashamed. Don't be careless. After all, he can earn more than 7,000 points in the first hour. His strength should not be too weak. Be careful. The captain of the team is Fang Ming, a lightly dressed archer. Under Lin Yi's all-seeing eye perspective, this person is level 37, and he has obviously completed the second transformation. And his skill specialization is also very strong. His profession is also a legendary profession, and his combat power is indeed good among this group of rabble. Maybe he is lucky. It's not uncommon for a blind cat to meet a dead mouse. Some people wanted to say a few more words. Fang Ming glared back at them, and then the few people immediately stopped talking. It seems that Fang Ming's prestige among this group of people is also good. At least he can calm people down. Fang Ming looked at Lin Yi and started to negotiate. Friend, as you can see, I brought more than 10 brothers to this area to kill monsters and earn points. It is difficult to earn points if so many people share them equally. So how about this, you give us 70% of the points, and we will let you leave. This is good for all of us. Otherwise, we will have to fight with swords. It is not glorious to fight with more people, I really don't want to go to that step. Fang Ming's words almost made Lin Yi laugh. It's not easy for you to earn points, but the points I earned were blown by the wind. But you were right, it is indeed not glorious to fight with more people. The next moment, Lin Yi snapped his fingers. Beside him, hideous summons began to appear one by one. Cry, the golden-winged Dapong King appeared. Then came the Hill Tiger King, the Snow Mountain Giant, the mutated bear monster. All these monsters were the souls who died under Lin Yu's sword in the past hour. Then, controlled by Lin Yu, a natural disaster army was formed. Previously, they had been kept in the dead spirit space by Lin Yi. Now, they were released by Lin Yi all at once. There were as many as 40 or 50 of them, and each of them had amazing combat power. Lin Yi grinned and added, but I am happy to go that far. Fang Ming was dumbfounded after seeing the undead army that instantly appeared around Lin Yi. Li Zerui was so frightened that he almost peed. Originally, these boss-level monsters in this dungeon were all ferocious-looking, but now after being resurrected by necromantic magic, they are even more ferocious than when they were alive. The kind that can make a kid cry. In the invigilation room, Li Chenyi looked at the more than 40 boss-level undead army summoned by Lin Yi with a wave of his hand. His pupils were also trembling. How did this kid do it? Normally, the summoner either needs to chant a chant to pull out the summoned object, or use some special equipment to store the summoned object. This type of equipment is expensive. But now Li Chenyi is very sure that all the candidates in Nose Ruins are naked and don't have any equipment. Even his summoning spells are instantaneous. This is a little too outrageous. What's even more outrageous is the quality of Lin Yi's summons. Except for the warrior summon that is no different from a human being, Lin Yi can really control so many summons to fight for him at the same time. This is more than just overwhelming numbers. Quality is also crushing. In the council chamber on the top floor, Xiao Zan's expression froze. He had just questioned Lin Yi's ability to control summoned objects at the same time not long ago. But now Lin Yi showed off his skills directly in front of everyone. He can control more than 3 or 2 summons at the same time. But 30 or 40. At this moment, Xiao Xuanyi was a little shaken. Where is his limit? Is this his greatest reliance? He turned his head and looked at Mr. Meng. The latter narrowed his eyes slightly and looked calm. Judging from his expression, Xiao Xuanyi suddenly realized that this was not the, beyond his imagination, trump card that Mr. Meng had said before. Xiao Xuanyi was shocked. If Lin Yi's qualifications before could only make him look slightly suspicious. Now he must re-examine this young man. In copy. Although Fang Ming opened his mouth, he still wanted to say something. But Lin Yi had no patience anymore. The next moment, Lin Yu drew his sword, and a stream of undead sword energy flew out. At the same time, the natural disaster army swarmed up. Everyone, don't panic, it just looks scary. Shu Zhen, Zhang Dao, you two hold on. Keep up with the output, pull and hit. Fang Ming gritted his teeth. He was doing his best to control his fear. But the pressure Lin Yi and these more than 40 undead monsters gave him was unprecedented. Under his command, the two tall men, obviously warrior knights, took the initiative to walk in front of the crowd. Fang Ming also took out a big bow, and arrows rained down like a waterfall. Even Li Zerui, who was standing behind, mustered up the courage to fire a few shots. The situation is critical and we can no longer consider hiding our trump cards. The high explosive shells were directly bombarded by him desperately. In an instant, the entire battlefield was filled with smoke and debris flying. For a moment, the fire suppression burst out by this team of more than 10 people seemed to have some flavor. However, the reality is cruel. Although the smoke and fire special effects are full. But it's of no use. The rock flaps its wings and the strong wind stirs. As soon as the smoke from the battlefield was blown away, Fang Ming and others felt a deep despair. Because they hit them with a wave of output. The natural disaster army on the opposite side didn't lose much blood. At this moment, there are more than a dozen overlord-level bosses around Lin Yi. There are also 7 or 8 quasi-kings. There are also 2 or 3 people who have fully reached the king level, similar to the golden-winged Dapeng king. The numerical gap can no longer be made up by legendary professions or epic professions. When Lin Yi saw Fang Ming, who was the leader of the group of dragons on the opposite side, he just looked at him with great hatred. Then without hesitation, he pressed the red button on the spiritual crystal watch on his right hand. The next moment, his figure disappeared. He voluntarily gave up this round of exams and sent out a copy. Without the leader Fang Ming, the remaining people were even more miserable. The 2 tank professionals, Xu Zhen and Zhang Dao, who were the first to bear the brunt, were directly hit by a crazy ancient mammoth giant and flew very high. Lin Yi even heard the sound of bone cracking. Fortunately, both of them were thick-skinned and thick-skinned. Although they were seriously injured, they would not be killed instantly. In midair, they also pressed the red button at the same time to teleport out the copy. Roar! A mutated giant bear with dark pus flowing all over its body raised its paw high, and was about to slap Li Zerui on the head, who was completely frightened and could not move. If Lin Yi were to take a shot of this palm, it would probably be easier than taking a shot of a watermelon. He sighed inwardly. Although this guy has always disliked me. But in the end there was no big grudge. In addition, Li Yuanjing was actually kind to him, and even used his own money to help him make up the difference between skill points and Daxia coins. Lin Yi could not deny this favor. With a thought, the giant bear's claws hovered in the air. He looked a little confused. He seemed to be wondering, didn't the master just want to kill these weak humans by himself? Get out of here, Lin Yi said in a deep voice. The next moment, the remaining 7 or 8 people on the opposite side were instantly pardoned, and they pressed the red button in a hurry to escape from the dungeon. Li Zerui was so scared that he was trembling all over, and he didn't even hear what Lin Yi said. But the next moment, he was still teleported away. Obviously, this was operated by the examiner Li Chenyi, who had been monitoring the situation in the dungeon. At this moment, Li Yuanjing, who was sweating and frightened, stood beside Li Chenyi. Looking at Lin Yi in the picture, Li Yuanjing was very lucky that he didn't offend Lin Yi. Otherwise, even if his son didn't die today, he would probably be half disabled. Lin Yi looked at the group of people who had come before and were instantly wiped out by him, with no joy or sadness on his face. The natural disaster army was taken back to the dead spirit space by him, and Lin Yu also put the sword back into the sheath. Are there any monsters nearby? Lin Yi asked. Lin Yu shook his head. It has been cleared. Then let's go. In the next half day, Lin Yi rode on the back of the Great Peng King and traveled all over the eastern hilly area. Lin Yu rode on the back of another silver feather peng and led the undead corps to charge across the entire area. Half a day passed. The number of the undead corps under Lin Yi has increased from more than 40 to more than 300. And it is still increasing. This corps can ruthlessly crush any monster it encounters, and those monsters that are crushed and killed instantly will be resurrected by Lin Yi and become new members of the corps. Other candidates who are in the hilly area with Lin Yi. They are afraid to avoid him. Even if Lin Yi encounters other candidates, unless they take the initiative to cause trouble, they will ignore them directly. This scene made Li Chenyi feel numb. Others are here to take the exam, but this kid seems to be here to level up. Don't tell me, he has reached level 59 in the past half day. As soon as the voice fell, a white light appeared on Lin Yi's body in the picture again. He has reached level 60. At the same time, a series of prompts sounded in my mind. Ding! Congratulations on reaching level 60. It is detected that you have the authority to enter the abyss. You are qualified to participate in the trial of the 0th layer of the abyss. You can enter the challenge at any time. Ding! The only weapon Soul Elegy absorbs enough soul fragments, and the grade is upgraded from black iron to bronze, and all attribute bonuses are improved. Ding! Your summon, Lin Yu's level is upgraded to LV.40, and the status is advanced to the top Lord level. A new skill slot is obtained. Please go and activate it. Chapter 71. A series of prompts made Lin Yi a little confused. First, it was the 0th level trial of the abyss. What is this? He had never heard of it before. Then, Lin Yu's exclusive weapon Soul Elegy was upgraded, and she also completed the upgrade. But what the hell is this unlocking skill slot? Shouldn't the normal summon upgrade be directly given a new skill? Is Lin Yu really so special that she can choose what skills to learn like a professional? Thinking of this, the spiritual crystal watch on Lin Yi's hand suddenly vibrated. The next moment, Li Chenyi's somewhat serious voice sounded. Lin Yi, you just reached level 60. Did you receive an invitation to the abyss trial? Lin Yi, yes. Don't accept the invitation yet. You are in the exam round now. If you enter the abyss trial, your results will be invalid. I know, so I didn't accept it. Lin Yi is not stupid, of course he knows this truth. On the other side, Li Chenyi continued, for all professionals, the 0th level trial of Zhongyuan is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It requires careful preparation and can only be entered at this node of level 60. Next, you can normally kill monsters in the dungeon to gain experience, but don't actively click to upgrade. It will be a pity to miss the 0th level trial of Zhongyuan. After hearing what Li Chenyi said, Lin Yi became interested. What exactly is this 0th level trial of Zhongyuan? Li Chenyi did not answer Lin Yi's question directly, but continued, regarding Zhongyuan, you can ask your Dongjiang seniors after the 5th round of exams are over. The exams are still in progress, and I can't talk to you for a long time. This time I just remind you not to enter the Zhongyuan trial. After speaking, Li Chenyi directly interrupted the communication. No one thought that someone could upgrade at such a fast speed during the 5th round of exams. This is unprecedented. After cutting off the communication, Lin Yi did not continue to worry about Zhongyuan, but opened Lin Yu's panel to look at it. First is the Soul Elegy that has just been upgraded. The overall attributes have been greatly improved compared to before. Soul Elegy. Type. Weapon two-handed. Grade. Bronze 0.08%. Equipment level. LV.1. Exclusive weapon. Soul bound. Weight. 22.34 kilograms. Physical attack power plus 2044. Strength plus 871. Endurance plus 846. Spirit plus 833. Agility plus 901. Durability. Never wear out. Unique special effect. Soul devouring. When killing a target, it will devour the target's soul, obtain certain attribute values, and add them to its own basic attributes. Note: the stronger the target is, the higher the status, the more attribute values will be obtained. The additional attribute values given are far beyond the platinum level undead greatsword that Lin Yi got when he killed Rivendell. At this moment, the Soul Elegy has just reached the bronze level. Lin Yi didn't dare to think about how exaggerated the attributes would be when this weapon really advances to the artifact level. After looking at the weapon, Lin Yi opened Lin Yu's panel. Clicked on the skill column. He did see an empty skill column. Meaning, as long as it is a skill that matches her orthodox or branch profession system, she can learn it. Hiss. This mechanism is a bit against the sky. Lin Yi was still thinking about helping Lin Yu pay attention to the skill books related to the necromancy system and the warrior system in the future, but Lin Yu suddenly changed his expression. Master, someone is coming again. Lin Yi heard this and pulled back his thoughts. In the past half day, he did run into a lot of people. Those who are hostile, just send them out of the dungeon. Those who are not hostile, Lin Yi is too lazy to care. Don't call me master in the future, we can just call each other by name in the future. Lin Yi's words are sincere. Lin Yu has already gone beyond the scope of summoned creatures in all aspects. Lin Yi has already regarded her as a friend or a partner. After saying this, Lin Yu's delicate body trembled. Then she nodded shyly. Brother Lin Yi, I have been looking for you for a long time. We have no ill intentions. We are willing to give you all the points. Can we team up with you? Suddenly, a soft and charming voice sounded behind Lin Yi. Looking back, I saw several girls coming over and looking at Lin Yi pitifully. These girls are pretty good in both figure and appearance. In such a long time, Lin Yi has met many people, but this is the first time he has met someone who wants to team up with him. But before Lin Yi could speak, Lin Yi saw from the corner of his eye that Lin Yu had already drawn his sword. Without saying a word, several afterimages flashed by, and the undead sword energy burst out. In an instant, several pitiful girls were sent out of the copy by Lin Yu. The whole process happened in the blink of an eye, without giving Lin Yi any chance to react. Feeling Lin Yu's emotions, Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Is she jealous? A few coquettish fools dare to snatch a man from me. Lin Yi found it funny and shook his head. He didn't take it to heart. Lin Yu was a little flustered, and suddenly said, they must have bad intentions. I'm sorry. Lin Yi shook his head. No need to apologize, you did the right thing, I didn't plan to team up with them. After this little episode, Lin Yi and Lin Yu continued to level up. The monsters in the hilly area were basically crushed and cleared by Lin Yi. Lin Yi also began to consciously move towards the central area of the entire Noah ruins. The entire Noah ruins is too large, and it is almost impossible to explore it all in one day. As time goes on, Lin Yi also found that the sky has darkened. In the end, it has completely fallen into darkness. I didn't expect that this dungeon is also like a small world, with sunrise and sunset. Unknowingly, he has spent more than 20 hours in the dungeon. It has been 23 hours since the start of the 5th round of testing. The last score list is announced. The Lingjing watch vibrated. The next moment when Lin Yi saw the ranking list, he suddenly realized it. There are only 3 names left on this list. First place, Lu Yu, points, 314,699, team, none, location, Nose Wreckage Area. Second place, Sha Yuyan, points, 284,136, team, none, location, Nose Wreckage Area. Third place, Lin Yi, points, 214,748, team, none, location, Nose Wreckage Area. The first and second are still these 2 familiar names. Lin Yi's curiosity was gradually replaced by fighting spirit. It's almost done. In the last hour, if I go to the desert area and the swamp area, I might be able to pick up some monsters. But leveling up is not the most important thing now. At this point in the game, the circle has shrunk to the end. It's time to eat chicken. Lin Yi rode on the back of Peng Wang and looked at the wreckage of No's giant ship under the dark sky in the distance. He looked at the spiritual crystal watch on his hand. 2 arrows pointing to Sha Yuyan and Lu Yu. Completely overlapped. This means that the 2 are now in the center of the Noah wreckage, and may have already met. Lin Yi, all the flying beasts I sent out for reconnaissance have lost contact. They are all controlled by another will. Lin Yu frowned, a hint of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Lin Yi was also stunned. Logically speaking, he and Lin Yu both have absolute control over the monsters he resurrected. Especially Lin Yu, as the Lord of Natural Disasters, there is no reason why she cannot control her own army. If there is, then it can only be a skill or effect with a higher priority. Buzz. Lin Yi felt a terrifying mental force field burst out from the ruins far away. If it weren't for his eye of all-seeing, he wouldn't even be able to sense this force field. And this mental force field has no effect on him and Lin Yu. However, the next moment, Lin Yi heard the entire Noah ruins. There were roars and cries of beasts coming from all over the place below. Then, Lin Yi saw countless birds and beasts, all of them started to rush towards the place where the wave came from like crazy. Cry. The 2 rocks ridden by Lin Yi and Lin Yu actually began to get agitated. They actually wanted to break free from Lin Yi and Lin Yu's restraints and fly forward at an accelerated speed. I can't control anymore. Lin Yu exclaimed. The next moment, she and Lin Yi were thrown off by two big pangs from behind. In a panic, Lin Yi was still calm. The next moment, he summoned the skeleton dragon that he had stored in the dead spirit space. The dragon caught the two people. Lin Yi began to observe the reaction of the skeleton dragon. But he found that this orthodox dead spirit summoned by him was not affected by the invisible wave. Lin Yi pondered for a moment, and he found a clue. The invisible wave that could compete for control were all monsters that were temporarily recruited by him. And all the summons he summoned. He still has absolute control. Lin Yi rode on the back of the skeleton dragon, watching the two big pangs flying away at an ever-increasing speed, and a slight arc appeared at the corner of his mouth. Although he didn't know what happened, the stronger the enemy, the more pleasure he would feel after defeating it. Otherwise, it would be too boring to push forward all the way. In the center of the Noah wreckage area that Lin Yi could not see, the scene here made everyone who was watching the final round of the National College entrance examination feel incredible. In the core area of the Noah ruins, a ship-shaped wreckage with a length of 10,000 meters crashed here. The entire wreckage vaguely shows the hard work and ingenuity of its maker. This is also the origin of the name of this copy. At this moment, the entire Ark wreckage area is occupied by dense monsters and beasts. After coming here, these beasts are no longer manic. But they are guarding the center of the ruins, around a silver-haired boy. The boy's appearance and face shape are childish, and he looks only about 13 or 14 years old. At this moment, he holds a cube that flashes with deep blue light in his hand. The surface of the cube flashes with countless inscriptions that people in the Blue Star world cannot understand. These inscriptions seem to be the product of the technology side, and there are also traces of the magic side. Just holding it in his hand, the silver-haired boy Lu Yu felt as if endless power was pouring into his body. His profession is an epic profession. And it is the only profession, named, Heart of All Beasts. Not only can he freely transform into any bird or beast in the Blue Star and the Abyss world, but he can also control other monsters within a certain range in an extremely domineering way. The more monsters he controls, the higher the bonus he gets. Under normal circumstances, Lu Yu's current limit is to control 332 monsters at the same time, and his status cannot be higher than the Lord level. But at this moment, under the energy injection of the deep blue magic cube in his hand, all the monsters in the entire Noah ruins are subservient to him. The winner of this round of exams has been decided. Li Chenyi made a judgment. Boss, what he is holding should be the core module of the reactor of Noah's Ark, right? Li Chenyi nodded. This is the most valuable dungeon item in this Abyss dungeon. It can greatly increase the professional skill effects of all professionals. Originally, his strength was on par with Sha Yuyan. Now that he has this key item, he must be the first this year. As the chief examiner of the 5th round, he also set the test questions this year. Naturally, he has already figured out the dungeon of Noah's ruins. He knows the effect of the core module of the reactor of the Ark better than anyone else. Although this thing cannot make the skills of the professionals themselves advanced, but it will make them evolve. Although the skill level is the same, the effect has changed dramatically. This magical effect has only been seen on this special item in this dungeon by Li Chenyi. Unfortunately, this item is bound to the dungeon and cannot be taken out of the dungeon. While thinking, Lu Yu in the picture suddenly realized something and looked up at the darkness in front of him. In the darkness, nothing can be seen. But the beast sense given to Lu Yu by the thousands of fierce beasts on the field told him that someone was coming. Is it Sister Yu Yan? You are still a step late. I can't lose now. Why don't you just give up? Lu Yu showed a kind smile, looked at the invisible figure in the darkness ahead, tilted his head and smiled. Although he said that the other party should give up. But the next moment, Lu Yu made a move. He just raised one hand. His right arm instantly transformed at an extremely terrifying speed, becoming a monster claw that was 100 meters long. He smashed down hard towards where Sha Yuyan was. Boom! With this smash, a pit several meters deep was smashed out in front of Lu Yu. This was the terrifying power he gained after mastering all the beasts. He could control the heavens and the earth at any time. However, the next moment, Lu Yu's face changed. He suddenly felt that his enlarged right arm was cut off by something. Domain. Cut off the air. A girl's soft whisper came from the void. Puff, hot blood spurted out, and Lu Yu's right arm was cut off directly from the root. The 100-meter-long broken arm didn't even have time to fall to the ground. The next moment, a large amount of blood and minced meat burst out again. The whole giant arm was cut into billions of pieces by an unknown force in an instant. Finally, it disappeared with the wind. Then, a figure wrapped in a light blue close-fitting robe slowly emerged from the darkness. What made you feel that I would lose? Sha Yuyan lowered her eyes. There seemed to be no emotion in it. As the words fell, Lu Yu's face showed a momentary surprise. Then he regained his harmless fake smile. The broken right arm was restored to its original state in the next moment. For the heart of 10,000 beasts, this level of self-healing ability is not surprising. Lu Yu clapped his hands and laughed. Oh, sister is so powerful. But just like this, you can't beat me. As soon as the boy finished speaking, he seemed to have a feeling. He quickly looked up at the sky. At the same time, Sha Yuyan also tilted her head slightly, looking at the skeleton dragon flying from not far away in the sky. And on the dragon's back, another young man was sitting in an extremely lazy posture, holding his chin with his right hand, watching their fight with interest. Lin Yi arrived. At this moment, the three strongest young people in the entire Daxia met here. Even though Lin Yi himself had just arrived, but he actually had a panoramic view of the scene just now with the help of the omniscient eye. Even the conversation between the two was overheard. Well, it fits my fantasy of the two strongest people of my generation in the entire Daxia. Everyone is a pushover. Saw Lin Yi arriving. Lu Yu seemed a little dissatisfied. Are you the one who killed all the monsters in the snowy mountainous and hilly areas? If it weren't for you, I would have more friends right now. Lin Yi glanced at the countless ferocious beasts and monsters surrounding Lu Yu. He looked at Lu Yu intently again. He raised his eyebrows instantly. Heart of all beasts. No wonder his two rock mounts were disobedient. Because before becoming undead creatures, these two monsters were both birds and beasts. If we really talk about authority, with the blessing of the Arc Reactor Core Module, Lu Yu does have higher authority. Well, it seems that the idea of using the Natural Disaster Army to directly push the remaining two people has completely failed. I might have to show some real trump cards. I'm in a hurry. You're all going to lose anyway, so let's go up together. Sha Yuyan didn't even look at Lin Yi. In other words, the other two people present at the moment could not get into her eyes. Within the realm, she has no rivals. That's been it since birth. She just needs to upgrade step by step and complete the job transfer task. Within 10 years, she will definitely have a place in the great Sha God of War. Sha Yuyan is very proud. But her pride comes from her terrifying record of not losing a single game so far. Whether they are at the same level or beyond, she can complete the crushing. Even if she faces some elders who are highly promoted, she is not without the strength to fight. The younger generation in Daxia are the strongest and most invincible. Others would give such comments without her having to say it explicitly. Sister Yuyan, you stole my lines again. Obviously you two should go together, right? Lu Yu shouted dissatisfied. In the sky, Lin Yi chuckled. I won't interrupt, you continue. The outcome of this battle depends on Lin Yi. In fact, I already knew it. But he just enjoys the process. Of course, if the two people below choose to deal with themselves as the third party first. Lin Yi didn't mind participating in the battle himself. Alas, Sister Yuyan, although it is a bit disgraceful to win against you this time because of the dungeon props. But it's better than never winning once. Lu Yu and Sha Yuyan seemed to have a tacit understanding. They didn't care about Lin Yi in the sky. It seems that the real decisive battle has nothing to do with Lin Yi, a stranger. A winner will only emerge between them. Once one of them wins, it will be a sure thing to crush Lin Yi. In addition, the two seem to know each other. Moreover, in the previous battles, the silver-haired boy Lu Yu probably never defeated Sha Yuyan. So there must be resentment in his heart. I don't know what kind of instructions Lu Yu gave to the beasts. The next moment, there were tens of thousands of ferocious beasts on the scene, and their eyes instantly turned red as blood. The body size has grown by more than 1/3. Lin Yi's eyes narrowed. He could see that in just the blink of an eye, this young man had given 3 or 4 buffs to tens of thousands of ferocious beasts. And each one is very strong. Even the status of these ferocious beasts increased by half a level. Plop, plop. Lin Yi's ears also heard the sound of heartbeat like a war drum. The sound of the hearts of thousands of monsters on the field at the same time and at the same time. At this moment, all the beasts are united. Go crazy. Bloodthirsty. Amplification. In the council hall, when Xiao Zhan saw that Lu Yu had finally handed over all his trump cards, he couldn't help but read out the names of the skills he knew. This kid has actually upgraded all his skills to level 5. With the blessing of the core module, the benefits given by these 4 5th level skills are terrifying. This last state is the Blood-Destroying Beast Alliance. This is a 6th level skill, and he really tried his best. Sha Yuyan's response to tens of thousands of enhanced ferocious beasts. Still calm. Buzz. A light blue field aperture. In an instant, it centered at Sha Yuyan's feet and rapidly expanded until it covered hundreds of meters. All ferocious beasts that enter Sha Yuyan's domain. In the next moment, he will be slashed by an unknown person, cutting off his arms, thighs, or even cutting him in half. However, these ferocious beasts suffered such heavy losses. It will be intact in the next second, including those ferocious beasts that were beheaded and beheaded. It seems that they have acquired immortality. Ha ha ha, my friends are already immortal. Sister Yuyan, your Duankong domain has been cracked by me. Lu Yu's expression was a little ferocious. In fact, it is not easy for him to activate this state. It was also very taxing on him. But it's all worth it. Except for Xiao Xuanyi and Mr. Meng who saw the clues, no one else could see how Lu Yu did this. Except Lin Yi. Blood-Sucking Beast Alliance. During the duration, all your summoned beasts will share their health points. All summoned beasts will not die before the total health points are cleared. One thing to say, this buff is used when the number of summoned beasts is not enough. Actually it's not bad, but at this moment, Lu Yu used the core module to control tens of thousands of ferocious beasts. It's a bit invincible. The total health of tens of thousands of ferocious beasts would be a very terrifying number. There was still no wave in Sha Yuyan's cold eyes. It seemed that Lu Yu's desperate efforts still posed no threat to her. You disappoint me a little. Even if you get such a big bonus, it's nothing more than that. Field. Silence. In Lu Yu's somewhat disbelieving eyes. Sha Yuyan switched the realm status. From the domain. Skybreak to the domain. Silence. And the coverage of this field is 7 or 8 times larger than that of Duankong. The dark gray silent realm enveloped Lu Yu and countless ferocious beasts. Soon, the special effects in this field were revealed. Those ferocious beasts that Lu Yu had added the effects of Crazy Bloodthirsty and Blood-Destroying Beast Alliance instantly lost all their bonuses. It has changed into its normal appearance before. Lin Yi, who was also enveloped in this field, also discovered. All my skills below level 6 can no longer be used. It's time to end. Field superposition. Burning flame. The blazing fire, the terrifying heat, and the red scorching flame domain are superimposed on the gray silent domain. Tens of thousands of ferocious beasts were present at that moment. Turn into ashes. This scene is extremely impactful. Even Lin Yi, who already knew this outcome, would have to say it was wonderful. The fake smiling boy Lu Yu stopped smiling. As the heart of all beasts, at this moment when all the summoned beasts were killed, the death knell of defeat had already sounded. Lu Yu bully. Just wait. I want to tell my grandpa. The next moment, Lu Yu took the initiative to press the red button and exit the instance. The core module of the arc reactor that he had previously held in his hand. It was also picked up by Sha Yuyan. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi, who was riding on the dragon's back in the sky with the same indifferent expression. It's your turn. The endgame is officially here. The next moment Sha Yuyan held the core module of the arc reactor. Her domain began to expand at an extremely terrifying speed in an instant. If the core module allowed Lu Yu to control the summoned beasts from 300 to 10,000, then the impact on Sha Yuyan was that all her domain effects not only evolved, but also expanded from the kilometer level to the 10,000 meter level. However, the next moment, Sha Yuyan directly threw the dark blue Rubik's Cube on the ground. Her pride. She was not allowed to use this additional bonus ability. Without the module bonus, Sha Yuyan's domain returned to normal. Because facing Lin Yi, she could easily win without using these external things. It's over, let's go and pick him up. This kid is lucky. He should have been third, but now he can get second. Notify those people in the publicity group to debug as soon as possible. The national results will be released soon. Li Chenyi saw this. He stood up and prepared to leave the invigilation room. To deal with the aftermath of this round of exams. The suspense is gone. Sha Yuyan is terribly strong. Under the domain, no one survives. In the Parliament Hall. Xiao Xuanyi also smiled. Mr. Meng, you should admit that Sha Yuyan should have won, right? I admit that as an ordinary professional, he has done well enough and shocked me a lot, but that's it. Whether it's Li Chenyi or Xiao Xuanyi, even Li Yuanjing who is watching the game at this moment, and Qi Guogong who is watching the game in Dongjiang province. Everyone has their own judgment in their hearts. This final battle. At the beginning, the suspense has been lost. Lin Yi's winning rate is 0. He will definitely lose. However, just when everyone was thinking about it, even Li Chenyi was about to write Sha Yuyan's name as the first in this year's national candidate rankings. The picture in the copy made everyone suddenly realize. It seems not that simple. Mr. Meng still sat in the chair calmly, with a smile on his lips. Yuyan is a good kid, but unfortunately she has inherited her grandfather's bad temper. She never looks people in the eye. She should have learned a lesson today. If it weren't for this girl's strength, you and I might not have seen the real trump card of this kid Lin today. As soon as Mr. Meng finished speaking, Xiao Xuanyi realized that something was wrong. Sha Yuyan looked at Lin Yi in the sky, and her eyes fluctuated for a moment. Because even though she was enveloped by her two domains, Lin Yi was not affected at all. It's just that the skeleton dragon and Lin Yi were taken back into the dead space by him. Under the double superposition of the silence domain and the burning domain. All of Lin Yu's skills were sealed, and it was difficult to withstand the high temperature brought by the burning domain. So Lin Yi took them back in advance. A pair of wind wings appeared behind Lin Yi, and he landed slowly. I must admit that you are probably the strongest person of my generation that I have ever seen. The field that seals the 6th level skills, the space-slashing field. It's really a bit outrageous. But since you are so outrageous, it's not too much for me to use some more outrageous skills, right? The last sentence, Lin Yi did not say it out loud. Instead, he said it to himself in his heart. Before, he had always restrained himself. He had always hidden his true strength. In fact, he was afraid that what he showed was too shocking. It would cause unnecessary trouble. But now after seeing the two perverts, Lu Yu and Sha Yuyan, he realized, the entire Blue Star, Da Sha, which is known as the first in comprehensive strength. There is no shortage of geniuses. Since the top leaders of the country can accommodate them, they must be able to accommodate themselves. Then, there is no need for me to hide it. Start with the 7th level to show respect. Then, Lin Yi pointed casually. Pointed to Sha Yuyan in the center of the field. The next moment, Sha Yuyan's face changed, and the high temperature of the entire scorching domain suddenly dropped at this moment. With Lin Yi as the center, the entire scorching domain even began to form a white frost. This scene made everyone dumbfounded. What's going on? Why can he not only be fine under the superposition of two domains, but also be able to reverse the effect of the entire domain invisibly? Now the scorching domain looks like it has failed. It's not an exaggeration to rename it as the ice-cold domain. This is impossible. The domain is silent, it can seal all skills below the 6th level, and dispel all the buff effects below the 6th level. Why can he still use skills? Xiao Xuanyi was a little confused. He didn't understand. He couldn't figure it out. In his opinion, Lin Yi should be turned into ashes in an instant, which is in line with expectations. Wait, this magic fluctuation. This is the 7th level. Meng Lao gave Xiao Xuanyi, who was fussing on the side, a meaningful look. That look seemed to say, you just realized it now. Ice element 7th level, soul frozen. A gleam of light appeared in Meng Lao's eyes. He uttered a few words. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Long-term in a high position, coupled with terrifying strength. He had long discovered that Lin Yi had the ability to cast high-level skills. But since the 5th round of the exam, everything this kid encountered was too weak. He was able to sweep the entire Noah ruins completely relying on the summons of the undead system. If Sha Yuyan was not a qualified opponent, even Mr. Meng was not sure at this moment what level Lin Yi's true strength was. Now he is sure. He can really use skills beyond the 6th level. 7th level skills. These thoughts are just things that are produced in an instant. And in the copy, what happened in this instant made Li Chenyi and others who had just stood up sit down again. Because, the high and mighty Sha Yuyan, in her own dual domain, was completely frozen by a piece of crystal clear ice. And the shock that Lin Yi brought to them was not limited to this. Yin, a clear dragon roar resounded throughout the Noah ruins. The next moment, the dark sky was dyed red by the red flames. A giant dragon composed entirely of pure fire elements flapped its wings, like a meteor, streaking across the sky. Then, the blazing dragon breath fell like a waterfall, sweeping across the Noah wreckage in the center of the ruins. On the path, Sha Yuyan, who was completely frozen and controlled by the 7th level ice soul, was naturally included. At this moment in the ice, Sha Yuyan's expression was a little more surprised. She finally understood at this moment why her domain was ineffective against the boy in front of her. The silent domain can only target those below the 6th level. And he attacked at the 7th level. And it was a dual system 7th level. Compared with the scorching domain, the 7th level fire skills naturally show that Lin Yi's mastery and control of the fire element far exceeds her domain. Crack, collapse. The dragon breath swept over, and Sha Yuyan's dual domains were completely shattered. On the big screen, in the sea of fire, only Lin Yi still stood there calmly. The fire was extinguished, and Lin Yi's shadow was dragged out for a long time, shining on the remains of the Fengzhou ruins in the distance, making it even more oppressive. Li Chenyi closed his open mouth. The shocking effect brought by the 2 7th level spells is unparalleled. Even he couldn't help but feel chilled when he saw Lin Yi at this moment. Necromantic system, fire system, wind system, ice system. He knows so much, but he is very good at everything. In this exam, Lin Yi gave him a shock that no one else could match. If I just appreciated it before. Now Li Chenyi looks at Lin Yi with admiration. The twists and turns of this final battle happened too violently and too quickly. Just now he thought Lin Yi was going to be killed. Who knew that in the end he would be the one who stood up to others? Li Chenyi stood up. This time it should really be over. Let's go and pick up people. At the other end of the wall separated from the invigilation room are the senior officials of the provincial education bureaus responsible for delivering exams. My eyes almost popped out. Yes, this is only the 5th round of the National College entrance examination. That's right, both candidates are just second-guessing. That's right, most of them can't beat either of these two people with real swords and guns. Li Yuanjing was even more excited and trembling all over. If it weren't for the bad influence, he might have spoken out now and made a big statement that this is our strongest young generation in Dongzhong. No, from today on, they should be the strongest young generation in the entire Daxia. The first examination room in Dongzhong. Qi Guogong sat on the chair. Looking at Lin Yi on the big screen, his whole body couldn't stop shaking. It's him. It's really him. Everything is settled. He recalled being outside Blue City. At that time, he was flying in the air and Lin Yi was outside the city gate. That startling glimpse. Everything made sense. In this era, a new star is really about to rise into the sky of Great Sha, and the light it will shine may be even greater than the blazing sun. In copy, Lin Yi looked at the center of the fire and smoke. Some sighed. The strength of the area close to you is a bit high, and it can actually withstand my sky flame dragon breath. Lin Yi's words stunned all the spectators. The next moment, they were shocked to realize that Sha Yuyan was hit by 2 7th level magics, but she was not defeated on the spot. The ice melted, and Sha Yuyan's hair was scattered around her neck, making her look extremely embarrassed. There was also a faint trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that Lin Yi's attack just now had severely damaged her vitality. Countless glass-like transparent flakes peeled off from her body. Then it shattered and disappeared. This is a micro area that has been covering Sha Yuyan's body since she appeared on the scene. It was this layer of personal domain protection that allowed Sha Yuyan to withstand Lin Yi's 7th level magic. What a keen observation. Xiao Xuanyi also praised Lin Yi this time. Because it was from a bystander's perspective, the clarity of the video broadcast through the bracelet was just that. After all, he wasn't there. So he also ignored Sha Yuyan's protective field. At this moment, combined with Sha Yuyan's skill set, he quickly recognized the skill field. Denied. Able to repel all other objects, attacks, and even energy in the field. Is she now able to completely cover this area on her body? Xiao Zhan took a breath of air. I am amazed by Sha Yuyan's persistence and hard work. Because he knows that this field is too special. Although the effect is extremely terrifying, the cost of using it is also very exaggerated. Because of the exclusionary effect of this field, it will even exclude the domain releaser himself. Covering the entire body means that Sha Yuyan is enduring tremendous pain all the time. This is the price of absolute territory. Sha Yuyan has never experienced such an embarrassing moment. She was already extremely angry, and her desire for victory finally made her give up her previous pride. She realized that Lin Yi was not a prey that could be ravaged by her. At this moment, the roles of hunter and prey have already been transformed. She picked up the blue Rubik's Cube that she had just abandoned on the ground. Lin Yi just watched and did not stop him. Because this is the copy prop she should get. According to the normal process, Sha Yuyan and Lu Yu were the first to arrive at the wreckage area, got this prop, and gained nothing wrong with it. On the other hand, this thing is useless to Lin Yi. Because of skill evolution or something. He's done playing bad. Sha Yuyan held the core module of the arc reactor in her right hand and instantly felt a vast and majestic power pouring into her body. The injury just now was completely repaired in almost a few breaths. At the same time, 10 layers of transparent light film condensed in an instant, and then perfectly covered Sha Yuyan's body surface. Field. Denied, strengthened tenfold. In addition, 3 realms, 1 gray, 1 blue and 1 red, began to spread outward with Sha Yuyan as the center. Domain. Cracking the sky. Area. Dead silence. Field. Annihilation. At this moment, the 3 realms have evolved. And they overlap with each other. In this absolute realm, everything should perish. Go to hell. The 3 realms are completely unfolded. Buzz. An extremely heavy space fracture cutting sound is heard. A blue light suddenly appears. Lin Yi was cut vertically from the center by this space fracture. The fire brought by the annihilation realm melted all the ice that Lin Yi had created before. The next step should be to melt Lin Yi. It seems that this battle has finally come to an end. The changes in the battlefield made Li Chenyi completely unable to react. He didn't even have time to save Lin Yi. It's over. Is such a young and excellent seedling going to fall here? However, the next second, everyone heard a sigh. I didn't want to use it, the cooling time is too long. It's time to end. This is Lin Yi's voice. His voice seems to be a little different from the previous lazy and easygoing voice. Instead, there was an unquestionable and arrogant taste. Li Chenyi, who had just stood up, sat down again. Because he saw that in the picture, Lin Yi was cut in half by the sky-splitting slash, and there was no blood flowing out of the wound. Instead, a few wisps of deep blue flames emerged. The next moment after these wisps of flames emerged, the red annihilation field that belonged to Sha Yuyan collapsed immediately. Crack, collapse. How could ordinary fire burn in front of the supreme fire? Tang. In the Parliament Hall, Elder Meng, who had always been calm, suddenly stood up. Then, Xiao Xuanyi realized that this real strong man who stood at the top of Daxia's combat power disappeared in an instant. In the invigilation room, the figure of Elder Meng leaning on a cane suddenly appeared. Then, in the next moment before Li Chenyi had time to react, Elder Meng lightly tapped the cane in his hand. The next moment, the entire spirit crystal broadcasting device was melted into a pile of burning residue. Then, the broadcasting video in the copy in front of everyone all disappeared. What's going on? Is it broken? What the hell? It's so exciting. What's going on? Shouldn't that guy be killed? Why is he still alive and kicking? What's going on with that blue flame? Did you see that? Sha Yuyan's scorching flame field seems to have collapsed again. No, don't break down at this time. The whole Daxia, who was watching the 5th round of the final battle, was all Spartan. They said, but they were thinking about it. What's the difference between this and Kunji? They really want to know the outcome of this battle. Both of them are too strong. Really too strong. They are so strong that they can completely crush all the young people in this Daxia. They can only see this level of confrontation in the global professional Olympic Games held every 4 years. I didn't expect to watch the National College Entrance Examination today. It opened their eyes. The first examination room in Dongjiang. Qi Guogong stared at the big screen that had fallen into darkness, lost in thought. Then his hair stood up. That deep blue flame, that supreme glance that looked down on everyone. The next moment, he understood everything. In the top-floor council hall of the Imperial Education Administration, countless senior executives of the Great Xia Education Administration looked at each other in surprise. Xiao Xuanyi looked at the screen that had fallen into a grayish white. He was thoughtful. He took a deep breath. Only he knew why Mr. Meng did this. Because it was very likely that what Lin Yi was going to show in the next second would arouse the covetousness of countless forces in the entire Blue Star. He was protecting two top talents of Great Xia. In the invigilation room, Li Chenyi was stunned. Meng Lao, why are you here? Although he knew that this big man was likely to have been watching this round of tests, Li Chenyi couldn't imagine that he could actually see him with his own eyes. No other live broadcast footage has leaked out, right? Elder Meng questioned Li Chenyi with an imposing manner. Li Chenyi nodded. No, the source of the live broadcast is here, and no one should know what happened in the copy now. Elder Meng nodded, and then continued. Everyone under you. You must sign the S-level confidential death contract today. Everything you just saw and heard must be kept strictly confidential. Those who do not sign will be executed in accordance with relevant laws. And count the people who have watched the live broadcast of this round of exams across the country today, and implement the relevant memory clearing process. Violators will be executed. After speaking, Elder Meng disappeared. Li Chenyi stood there in a daze. Chills on the back. S-level confidential death contract. This is an absolute confidentiality death contract that must be fulfilled for a lifetime after signing. If the relevant secrets are leaked, the power of the law in the death contract will directly execute the leaker on the spot. And if you don't sign this S-level death contract, you will also be executed on the spot. And they are already lucky. At least they will not lose a part of their memory. That moment just now. What happened? What made Mr. Meng so upset? He did not hesitate to start such a cumbersome and strict process, and only let this video material be known by very few people. Others will forget everything they saw. Nose ruins. Xia Yuyan looked at Lin Yi's posture at this moment, and waves of palpitations from intuition and inspiration made her feel emotions she had never had before. Fear, and even awe. This is impossible. Xia Yuyan could not understand the situation at this moment. Just a cluster of deep blue flames made her evolve to the quasi-7th level. Annihilation was shattered in an instant. At the same time, another realm of her own split into pieces. There were hundreds of space flashes per second. It had no effect on Lin Yi in front of him. It was as if his flesh and blood body had disappeared without a trace. Instead, it sublimated into a higher level of existence. Tens of thousands of meters above the battlefield between the two. A figure slowly emerged. Elder Meng leaned on a cane and stood quietly in the void. His eyes stared at the battle below. Before, when he saw the deep blue flames bursting out of Lin Yi's body, it was just a glimpse. He didn't see it clearly, and he was forced to cut off the broadcast screen by himself. Witness it with his own eyes at this moment. Elder Meng really confirmed one thing. More than 10 days ago, the Abyss Demon Emperor, codenamed Abyss Flame Emperor, who had just been uploaded to the database, was actually Lin Yi himself. It was just a short moment of thinking, and Elder Meng suddenly discovered that Lin Yi had completed the transformation. The deep blue flame covered every corner of Lin Yi's body. In other words, he himself had become the incarnation of flame at this moment. Then, he also broke free from the shackles of gravity and began to rise continuously. In the ruins of Noah, which had already fallen at night, it was as if a blue flame sun had risen again from the horizon. The blinding light almost made Xia Yuyan unable to open her eyes, and she felt as if she was being burned by the scorching sun. Lin Yi suddenly looked up at a place in the sky. His eyes swept across a distance of 10,000 meters and focused on Elder Meng, who was hidden in the sky and shadows. Elder Meng's eyes once again shone with brilliance. He can see me. This kid. Any trump cards? Lin Yi just glanced at Mr. Meng and quickly looked away. Looking down at Sha Yuyan, who had taken back all the fields, leaving only the body protection field, rejected. Lin Yi spread his fingers. Divine fire, Tianzhong. The sun in the sky. Like a helium flash, it bursts out with the most blazing light. Then, boom, the entire space of No's ruins is trembling. The wreckage of the ark and the surface vegetation were instantly annihilated and evaporated by the terrifying high temperature. Swamps and lakes evaporated in an instant. Meng Lao's expression changed while he was high in the sky. He clearly saw that before the power of the skill released by Lin Yi had fully exploded, it covered Sha Yuyan's 17 areas, veto. It was also directly evaporated and shattered. Not good. Mr. Meng's heart sank. He immediately stopped watching and stepped away. Appeared next to Sha Yuyan. A light tap of the cane. An emerald green ripple spread out. Protect Sha Yuyan among them. At the same time, the Shanhua Tianzhong officially broke out. A nuclear explosion descended on the entire ruins. Mr. Meng, who was in the center of the nuclear explosion, was protected by the green ripples and remained unscathed. But the burning heat that hit his face still made him marvel at the terrifying power of Lin Yi's skill. 8th level top grid. No, it's close to the 9th level of power. This kid, although Lin Yi had already seen through Lin Yi's hidden trump card before, when this trump card was really exposed, Mr. Meng still misjudged his terrifying strength. Are Lu Yu and Sha Yuyan geniuses? Even if this question is thrown to Daxia's God of War powerhouse. The answer is yes, but there is also a gap between so-called geniuses. After that, the whole young generation in Daxia. After Lin Yi, no one can be called a genius. Mr. Meng looked at Sha Yuyan, who had been rescued by him but was already charred and in a coma, and sighed. That's enough, kid, you win. In the sky, Lin Yi had already seen everything happening below. Being at the center of the nuclear explosion of his divine fire, not only was he unscathed, but he also seemed to be at ease. This old man is so powerful. What does he want to do? Is this some kind of relative or elder of Sha Yuyan? At this moment, Lin Yi even wanted to throw a fire spell at him and escape. There is no way this can be regarded as Lin Yi's stress reaction. But after watching for a while, I saw that the old man was not hostile to me. Lin Yi realized that it was his old habit of always thinking the worst about things. Judging from the strength currently displayed by this old man, even if he really summons the 8 desolate heavenly meteors to smash them down, there is a high probability that he cannot be killed. While Lin Yi was thinking wildly, the entire copy of No's ruins began to tremble violently. The wreckage of No's ark on the surface. This is the core of this entire copy. The core module of the arc reactor was previously held tightly in Sha Yuyan's hands. At this moment, it has been broken into a pile of gray-white powder. Lost this core Rubik's Cube. The entire wreckage of Noah was completely evaporated and annihilated by Lin Yi's divine fire sky sign. So, what happened in Felicane, the city of lost light, should soon happen in the ruins of Noah. Lin Yi saw a large number of spatial cracks appearing throughout the copy. The entire copy space began to become unstable. It is only a matter of time before we fall into a deeper abyss. Let's go, Mr. Meng shouted from below. The next moment, Lin Yi felt that he was also wrapped in the emerald green ripples. After a while, the world was spinning. When he regained his vision, Lin Yi found that he had appeared in the underground hall before entering the dungeon. In the invigilation room. Soon, the affairs team that had been responsible for eliminating candidates sent a message to Li Chenyi. Just now, the last 2 candidates in the copy of No's relics have all come out. Li Chenyi felt his brain buzzing. It's over. Is it over? Mr. Meng came to shut down the entire broadcast device. Less than half a minute has passed, right? The 5th round, the final battle, ended so suddenly. So, who wins? With this huge curiosity, Li Chenyi rushed to the entrance hall of the previous copy as quickly as possible. He saw the copy door. Mr. Meng was standing there, talking to another person. And that person was clearly Lin Yi. At the same time, there were several teams of priests who were responsible for treating and providing first aid to eliminated candidates. Lying on the stretcher was a man with his eyes closed, his whole body charred, and somewhat miserable. It can still be vaguely seen that it is Sha Yuyan. Who wins and who loses? The ending has been revealed. Li Chenyi took a deep breath. He couldn't understand it. 10th level domain. Denial of incarnation, how could she be so injured? If Mr. Meng hadn't taken action, would Sha Yuyan have been completely dead at this moment? However, he may never know what happened in the copy after the broadcast was cut off. Thinking about it this way, Li Chenyi secretly made a decision in his heart. I might as well clean up my memory. Otherwise, it would be a bit painful to spend the rest of your life with this doubt and curiosity. Mr. Meng glanced at Li Chenyi. Then looked around at the other candidates. The results of this assessment were announced calmly. He pointed at Lin Yi. He is the final winner of this round. The scores will be calculated based on full marks. After giving instructions to Li Chenyi, Mr. Meng looked at Lin Yi and said, "Boy, follow me." Lin Yi touched his nose. Then he looked at Sha Yuyan, who was lying on the stretcher dying. I felt a little uneasy. After all, he didn't hide it. Alas, what was shown was still too terrifying, wasn't it? Lin Yi followed Mr. Meng. When passing by other candidates who had been eliminated before, Lin Yi found that these people were looking at him in awe, as if they had seen a ghost. And he didn't dare to come within 3 meters of him at all. Lin Yi didn't understand. It seems that you are not so scary, right? These people should have just seen themselves commanding an army of undead scourges, right? Is there any need to be so afraid? Li Chenyi also saw this scene. He watched Lin Yi disappear with Mr. Meng at the end of the dark corridor. A hint of jealousy emerged in my heart. If it can be said that Lu Yu and Sha Yuyan crushed the other candidates taking the 5th round of exams this time, then Lin Yi also crushes Sha Yuyan like a fault. The two sides are not on the same power level at all. From now on, looking at the entire Daxia, the younger generation, Lin Yi is the highest mountain and the longest river. Just when Li Chenyi was in a daze, boom, the entire underground space began to shake. Later, Li Chenyi was shocked to find that the light curtain at the entrance to the copy of No's ruins was shrinking and collapsing at an extremely fast speed. What happened in the copy? What happened? The next moment, everyone in the entire underground space once again received a Blue Star World notification. Dungeon closure notice. Please note that all professionals on Blue Star, the 5-person copy of the Surface Abyss, No's Ruins has been permanently removed from the list of Surface Abyss copies because the core module of the arc reactor, the core of the copy, has been destroyed and the copy structure has been completely destroyed. From now on, all professionals will no longer be able to enter this copy. The final passer of this copy will be included in the Global Copy Hall of Fame. Li Chenyi looked at the back of Lin Yi, who had already followed Mr. Meng out of the door. He was deeply shocked. The copy of No's Ruins disappeared directly. The last person to pass the pass. Isn't it Lin Yi? Li Chenyi knew before that Lin Yi had passed a certain Abyss trial copy when he took the provincial exam. And because of some coincidences, he was on the Global Copy Hall of Fame. Now, he has one more record in the Hall of Fame. Boy, you did a good job, you were very alert, and you knew how to hide yourself. But the things you hid made me, an old man, look at you with new eyes. Also, you were a little ruthless. In the dark corridor, Elder Meng's words were full of appreciation and kindness. This made Lin Yi feel a little relieved. It seems that this old man should represent the entire Daxia, the real high-level people, right? Their attitude towards him seems to be okay. Seeing his sublimated form, he was not too shocked. Well, it is also true. There are countless strong people in the entire Blue Star. Maybe the 8th level alienated fire magic can shock most people, but it cannot shock those who really hold power and supreme power. However, Lin Yi still carefully tested jokingly, "You won't take me to a laboratory and dissect me for research, right?" Meng, who was walking in front, paused. Then he laughed and said, "What do you think we are, man-eating monsters? Also, brat, don't be too proud. Although you are very strong now and have great potential for growth, if you die young, you will be nothing. Do you know how many countries, organizations, and individuals are eyeing our great Shah? You young geniuses, are you eager to get rid of them? It is impossible for us as a human race to be completely united. Disputes arise between people for various reasons, let alone between countries. In addition to this, the entire Abyss world and thousands of civilizations from other worlds are also eager to eat our blue star civilization alive. The resources of the entire world are limited. If civilization wants to develop and survive, the only way is to fight and plunder each other, and you will live and die. Meng Lao said something. For the first time, Lin Yi truly realized the crisis that Daxia and even the entire blue star human race were facing at this moment. And I also realized the vision and structure of this old man and even the entire Daxia senior management. Their level of consciousness has reached the stage of civilization's survival. Although Lin Yi admired him, to be honest, he didn't want to look at everything from such a high level. The reason for longing for power and becoming stronger is simply to have a foothold in this world. Okay, let's go ahead and introduce myself again. My name is Meng Yuanzhou. Just call me Mr. Meng. You just need to know that I am telling you these things today just to let you know. We attach great importance to talents. You, Xia Yuyan, Lu Yu, and even all the candidates who can enter the 5th round. In the future, we will definitely be able to accomplish something. You are the descendants who will continue our legacy, and you are also the hope of Daxia and even the entire human race. So, we will protect you and thrive at all costs. I can see that you are more mature than others. It's like your 18-year-old body contains a decades-old soul, haha. Meng Yuanzhou laughed out loud until the end. Lin Yi felt relieved at this moment. If Daxia's top management really wants to harm themselves. To be honest, Lin Yi found that he had no room to struggle. He is strong, but after living with these for hundreds of years, skills, equipment, talents, martial arts. Compared with a strong man who is perfect in all aspects, he is really not qualified. Okay, no more gossip, Lin Yi, I am very optimistic about you. I understand your family background, and now I know a little bit about you personally. I don't want you to die young at some point in the future. We've learned too many hard lessons. So, I must remind you to keep your good habit of being cautious now. In this world, there are too many skills, props, regional effects, and spiritual crystal spells beyond our imagination. If you don't attract the attention of those who are interested, what do you young people have to say? Oh, yes, just keep growing and don't waste it. But you are now ranked first in this year's National College Entrance Examination. There is no way to hide this. You can only pay more attention to yourself. For the rest of the time, I want you to be like the light and restrain your sharpness. When the day comes when you become the god of war and this world can't help you, you can be as crazy as you want. Lin Yi nodded and accepted the instruction with an open mind. I can do it, Mr. Meng. Seeing Lin Yi's reaction, Meng Yuanzhou was very pleased. He suddenly remembered something and asked, by the way, you were in the dungeon just now and you have already reached level 60, right? Did you receive an invitation to enter the 0th floor of Zhongyuan? Lin Yi nodded. He just wanted to ask about Zhongyuan. Meng Yuanzhou said, I'll keep the story short. You should already have a basic understanding of the Abyss. The city of Lost Light and the ruins of Noah that you have experienced are both a type of copy of the Abyss. But these copies are actually surface copies of the Abyss. You can think of the abyssal world as a never-ending deep sea. Most copies of the Abyss are cruise ships floating on the sea. And descending into the Abyss means that you have officially dived below the sea level. In the Abyss world, from the surface to the deep, each layer has specific Abyss rules, and the difficulty of the copy will also increase step by step. Of course, the rewards are also more generous. The 0th level of the Abyss is your first hurdle towards the deeper levels. At the same time, it is also your only chance to obtain high-level talents before descending to the 20th floor of the Abyss. Lin Yi's eyes lit up when he heard this. Are you saying that the 0th level of Zhongyuan will reward you with an additional talent? It may also be exclusive equipment, or a permanent buff state. All in all, descending to the 0th level of the Abyss is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all professionals. However, there are differences between the dungeons on the 0th level of Zhongyuan. Boy, do you know the difference between our top universities in the country and those 211, 985 super first-class universities? Lin Yi shook his head. I don't know. This is actually what Lin Yi has always been curious about. The idea that everyone instilled in him was to take the exam well and get a good ranking. Then choosing a good university will be of great benefit to future career paths. So what's the difference? Is it theoretical knowledge? Lin Yi believes that in this era of catastrophe, although information is valuable, it is by no means something that any individual or organization can firmly grasp. There is no airtight wall in the world. Is it a rare resource? Then you can also redeem it through Daxia merit points. Even the best way to earn merit points is not to enter the professional university for further study, but to join the army directly. Once you join the professional coalition, as long as you make merit, you can get a lot of merit points. Therefore, these top universities in the world must have something that other organizations don't have. It's the copy. Meng Yuanzhou gave the answer. To be precise, it's the admission qualification to the copy. When you enter the university, you will naturally understand these, so I won't explain them in detail. I will only say one thing. That is, the top 3 universities in the world have the most special copies of the 0th level of the Abyss. If you accept the invitation of the 0th level of the Abyss now, you will only enter the most common and the lowest difficulty 0th level of the Abyss, which is unified across the entire Blue Star. The upper limit of the reward you get will only be A level. And the special 0th level copy of the Abyss mastered by the first universities in various countries in the world has an upper limit of SSS level rewards. Lin Yi completely understood. In this way, the advantages of top universities compared to other civilian organizations are reflected. You shouldn't worry about admission. Number 1 in the country. And he got the first place with full marks in 5 rounds. I haven't seen him for many years. You should choose the school, not the school choosing you. Okay, Li Chenyi and his team should be busy with the national results release. It will be announced nationwide in about an hour. You can ask him for the reward for the national champion. Lin Yi thanked Meng Yuanzhou, walked out of the room, and returned the same way. When he found Li Chenyi, Lin Yi found that the attitude of the chief examiner towards him was a 180-degree turn. There was even a bit of respect in his words. Come to receive the reward. Sit down, come, sit here. Lao Zhang, why are you standing there? Go and pour tea for our national champion. Use the top-grade Maojian I bought 2 years ago. Lin Yi was warmly entertained by Li Chenyi. When he heard about the collection of Maojian, Lin Yi found that the expressions of those under Li Chenyi changed when he looked at him. During the catastrophe, many plants on Blue Star mutated. The tea culture in the ancient culture of Daxia and the coffee culture in the West were hit by a catastrophic impact. Either it was poisonous or the taste changed drastically, and it was completely unbearable to drink. It was only in recent years that the relevant gene cultivation work was in place, and the taste could basically be reproduced. However, when Li Chenyi's collection of Maojian tea was brought to Lin Yi took a sip and immediately put it down without a sound. You call this a collection-level good tea? Why does it smell like coriander? I can't stand it. Since then, Lin Yi has never touched that cup of tea again. After a few awkward chats with Li Chenyi, Lin Yi's reward finally came. Brother Lin, your 1000 Daxia merit points have been recorded in your professional merit point account. The exchange and use of merit points are connected to the trading system of major base cities across the country. You can view the list and exchange them anywhere in the country. Then there is this. Li Chenyi put a sandalwood box in front of Lin Yi. After Lin Yi opened it, he saw a colorful spirit crystal flashing with purple light inside, and his eyes lit up instantly. This is your A-level talent spirit crystal. This kind of spirit crystal is usually placed deep in the treasure house and preserved in a special way, but even so, the shelf life is only about half a year. Now it has been extracted and transferred out. While the effect of the spirit crystal has not completely dissipated, you should use it quickly. By the way, I forgot to tell you how to use it. Put the spirit crystal on your forehead and close your eyes to sense it. Lin Yi took out the spirit crystal with purple light from the box. The brilliance of the spirit crystal spread out, making the walls of the entire room colorful and dazzling. Lin Yi saw this moment, not only Li Chenyi's men. Even Li Chenyi himself had a little more heat in his eyes. This is an A-level talent. There is no completely useless talent in this world. There may only be talents that are not so compatible with one's profession. But having is always better than not having. Good luck to you, and get a good talent. Li Chenyi blessed. Lin Yi nodded, put the talent crystal on his forehead, and then he closed his eyes. Carefully sense the talent crystal. Not long after, Lin Yi felt a wave of fluctuations from his forehead into his mind. The next moment, a mysterious force also took root in his sea of consciousness. Obtaining talent through this method actually has such a wonderful experience. Ding! Congratulations! Obtained a new talent, Cyber Transformation. Lin Yi was stunned. What the hell is this talent name? Could it be that it can turn oneself into a robot? Lin Yi quickly checked the detailed introduction of this new talent he had obtained. Cyber Transformation. Rarity. Grade A. Type. Passive talent. Effect. Add the orthodox professional skill tree of mechanic and gunner to your branch professional skill tree. Note. Flesh and blood are weak, and machinery ascends. Join the glorious evolution. After seeing the effect, Lin Yi was completely stunned. What the hell? The orthodox professional skill tree of mechanic and gunner has now become his branch skill tree. Doesn't this mean that he can now learn the skills of these two professions? The next moment, Lin Yi's eyes lit up. This talent is a breakthrough in the professional wall. Seeing Lin Yi's expression and reaction, Li Chenyi asked, "How is it? Did you awaken successfully?" You can go to the professional forum to find out how your awakened A-level talent is. The pinned essential post contains the ratings of all A-level talents discovered so far by our Daxia Professional Alliance. Everyone's talent is the most private secret of a professional. Asking directly is very rude and asking for trouble. Li Chenyi certainly understood this. So he would not ask Lin Yi what talent he had awakened, but seeing that Lin Yi was a little entangled and undecided, he gave a suggestion. Lin Yi still knew about the professional forum. This is an online social forum established by the Daxia official for professionals to share their experiences or interesting stories. As long as you are a professional, you can browse and post after passing the official registration review. Generally speaking, posts that can be featured by the official are authoritative. Most of these posts or reviews are strategies for a specific dungeon. Originally, Lin Yi did not plan to see how his talent would be received in the official evaluation list, because this talent felt both novel and powerful to him. But Li Chenyi spoke up. Lin Yi took out his mobile phone out of curiosity and logged into the Daxia Professional Forum. At this moment, Lin Yi's professional rating was only the most common Gui level, and there were not many posts that could be browsed. However, the official did not set a threshold for this kind of talent rating post, and Lin Yi clicked in and was able to browse normally. After entering the post, there was a customary string of director and universe disclaimers. Lin Yi skipped it directly. Swipe up with your finger, and a table appears in front of Lin Yi. The total amount of data in the entire table is 1146. This means that the Daxia official has currently counted the number of A-level talents that have entered the database, which is this number. Perhaps, my talent may not be included in this table. Lin Yi kept dragging the table down. The sorting method of the entire table is to continuously arrange it downwards according to the rating rules formulated by the editor, from T0 to T4, and so on. When Lin Yi was about to drag the table to the bottom, he saw the introduction of the T4 level evaluation. It is tasteless to eat, but it is a pity to discard it. After obtaining it, the combat power will hardly be greatly improved. It can be called the shame of A-level. Below this introduction, Lin Yi saw the talent he had just unlocked at a glance. Cyber Transformation, a talent that allows non-mechanic and gunner professions to unlock their related skill trees. Like talents such as Magic Infusion, Combat Training, and Assassination Master, it allows other professions to unlock the orthodox skill trees of mages, fighters, and assassins. At first glance, these talents may be very creative. After all, using the skills of other professions can not only achieve unexpected victories in battle, but also unlock and explore more possibilities of their own profession. However, imagination is always beautiful. The reality is that this type of talent has a major flaw. Not to mention that it will only add you to the skill tree of the side profession. There is a pit when it comes to upgrading skills. Waiting for you to discover. Quote. That's right, if you want to upgrade the skills of other professionals you unlock, you need to spend 10 times the skill points of your own professional system. This means that even if most professionals force themselves to add points, they can only unlock related skills of level 1 or level 2 at most. And the editor has never seen a situation where a chemical reaction of 1 + 1 greater than 2 can be produced with one's own profession. It can be said that this kind of talent, after being obtained, will be placed in a corner to accumulate dust. No one will really choose not to add their own professional system skills, but spend 10 times the skill points to add this kind of skill, right? Seeing this, Lin Yi's mouth curled up a smile. You don't say, it really happens. Lin Yi finally understood why the A-level talent he had obtained was classified as T4 in the talent rating of the official forum. It turned out that this talent had a hidden effect that was not explained in the talent effect. This should actually be regarded as the restriction of Blue Star Heavenly Dao on this type of talent. You can use skills from other professional systems, but you have to spend more than 10 times the skill points to add points. This restriction also prevents the existence of all-round professionals in this world who have completely cross-professional skill systems and can learn any skills they want. If there were no such restriction, Lin Yi estimated that the rating of this type of talent would at least be above SS level. But for him, this restriction is not painful. He can indeed give priority to adding points to his main professional system skills. But according to the efficiency of being able to obtain 86,400 skill points in one day. In the future, Lin Yi's skill points will definitely overflow one day. This talent allows him to use these possible overflowing skill points. And there is hope that it can be added to a high level. Lin Yi felt a little bit against the sky just thinking about it. Trash talent. No, to him, this is the best talent. How is it? Is it a good talent? Li Chenyi smiled. Lin Yi nodded. It's pretty good. Ha ha ha, congratulations, brother. Then there are the remaining 2 rewards. Your exemption quota for the trial tower in our Daxia district has been submitted. Now there are more than 4 months before the trial tower opens, and there are still 3 months before the Pan-Asian Youth Professional Peak competition. You don't have to rush. Take advantage of this time to level up and work hard to become stronger. Then you can choose a set of platinum level equipment that you can use. Li Chenyi took out a list and handed it to Lin Yi. This is the 5 most suitable mage sets of equipment that we asked someone to help you select from the equipment library after we confirmed that you won the first place in the country. You can choose one. After it is decided, I will ask someone to pick it up. Lin Yi picked up the list and looked at it. The first set made his eyes light up. Robe of Eternal Rest. Wearing level. LV.65. Category. Armor top. Grade. Platinum. Cloth armor. Weight. 1.1 kg. Attribute bonus. Spirit plus 220. Defense plus 170. Special effect. Simple. Set effect. Endless Vengeance 4 quarters. 2-piece set. When you kill a target, you gain 1% of the strength of the necromancy skill. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times and lasts for 20 seconds. 4-piece set. The attribute values of all your necromancy summons are increased by 10%, and the duration of the summons is increased by 10 seconds. Note, how can you rest in peace if the fire of hatred never stops? The set effect of this set of equipment can be seen to be completely strengthening the necromancy. And this is a set of cloth armor, which can be worn by mages. Most equipment that strengthens necromancy skills is generally plate armor. Because the Death Knight is the orthodox profession of the death skill. This shows how rare this cloth armor set is. In addition to the set effect, what makes Lin Yi even more satisfied is that this set of equipment also has special effects. Each piece has a simple special effect. The effect of this special effect is easy to understand, that is, it allows professionals who are 5 levels lower than the equipment wearing level to wear this set of equipment. Lin Yi is now level 60, and the wearing level of this set of equipment is level 65, which Lin Yi can just wear. Finally, it is the attribute value given by this set of equipment. Just one piece of equipment gives 220 points of spirit. The spirit attribute value of the whole set of equipment is estimated to exceed 1,000. Lin Yi can't find fault, this set of equipment is too suitable for him now. This also indirectly proves how much those people care when choosing equipment for him. Lin Yi scanned the other 4 alternatives again. After comprehensive comparison, the first set is still better. Let's go with the first set. Lin Yi returned the list to Li Chenyi and made the final decision. Li Chenyi nodded. Haha, I knew you would choose the first set in the end. This set is very comfortable when you are leveling up. Especially since you have the skill expertise in the necromancy system, it is extremely comfortable to brush the dungeon by summoning creatures. Li Chenyi immediately asked someone to get the equipment. Then he said to Lin Yi, now all the exams are over. After you get the equipment, you should go back to find your leader in Dongjiang. I won't bother you anymore. We'll meet again if we are lucky. Soon, a whole set of platinum-level equipment belonging to Lin Yi was divided and packed and delivered to Lin Yi. Li Chenyi also sent Lin Yi out of the underground dungeon space of the Imperial Capital Education Bureau. Stepping out of the door of the Education Bureau building, Lin Yi saw a colorful and prosperous urban neon scene. This is Imperial Capital. It is the dream place of countless Daxia people. It is also the progressive city of the entire Blue Star human civilization. It is indeed magnificent, but Lin Yi has no interest in this city, let alone a sense of belonging. It was already night. I had been away from home for 2 days. Missing home. A familiar voice came. Lin Yi looked in the direction of the voice and saw Li Yuanjing standing next to a luxury car, smiling at him. Come on, get in. Li Yuanjing waved at Lin Yi. Lin Yi got in the car and sat in the back seat with Li Yuanjing. The luxury car started slowly. Under the neon sky of Daxia Imperial Capital, they merged into the traffic. There was soothing music in the car, and Lin Yi felt unprecedentedly relaxed. Although these 5 rounds of exams were relatively easy for Lin Yi. But he was also highly focused. Now that everything was over, Lin Yi suddenly felt a little tired. It will take a long time to get back to Dongjiang now, especially if you still want to go back to Zhangcheng. When we return to Tianai, the regular transmission hall will have stopped running, and you will have to change to the underground train to go home. So I booked a suite for you at the Imperial Hotel. Rest for a night and go back tomorrow. If you want to go shopping in Imperial Hotel, I can also accompany you. I often come here for meetings and I am quite familiar with it. Lin Yi shook his head and yawned. No, Uncle Li, I'm a little tired and don't want to go shopping. Thank you for your trouble with the hotel. Li Yuanjing. Okay, let's go directly to the hotel. This was said to the driver in front. Then the two fell into silence for a while. Xiao Rui's matter. Li Yuanjing seemed to have made up his mind. Just as he was about to speak, Lin Yi said, Uncle Li, I just got the first place in the National College entrance examination. You don't need to feel too burdened. During the exam, I had friction with your son. I had to stand on the opposite side. I am not such a petty person. You don't have to apologize to me for him. Li Yuanjing heard this. He opened his mouth and finally smiled bitterly. If he had half of your maturity and understanding, it would be great. I won't say more. Uncle Li, I wish you a bright future. Li Zerui's voice just fell. The driver in front exclaimed, 2 liters, I deliberately picked a wide avenue. Haha, you can look out the window. Our Daxia's college entrance examination this year, the national results are released. Li Yuanjing and Lin Yi were both refreshed when they heard this. Look out the window. I saw a golden scroll slowly unfolding above the night sky. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.